Chapter 42-35. At the same time. Somewhere in the West Continent. Dong Xian and the other three stood at the top of a mountain, seemingly waiting for something. Buzz. Soon. A space-time passage appeared. A purple-clad young man walked out with a gloomy face. It was Dong Hanzong. Brother Zong. Dong Xian and the other three hurriedly went up to him. It was not difficult to see that they could not respect Dong Hanzong. Yes. Dong Hanzong nodded and glanced at the four of them. Suddenly, he noticed Dong Xian's situation and frowned. What's wrong with you? I'm sorry. Dong Xian lowered her head, her face full of shame. Brother Zong, you can't blame Dong Xian for this. Dong Tianchen sighed. Make it clear. Dong Hanzong's face was a little ugly. Obviously, Dong Xian and the other three had a bad start. We all underestimated Qin Feiyang and the others. Dong Ping sighed. He explained the situation of the battle in detail. Dong Hanzong clenched his fists when he heard this. Dong Xian lowered her head and said, Brother Zong, if you want to blame someone, blame it on me. It's not your fault, why should I blame you? I'm the one at fault. Because I misjudged and thought that with your strength, you could defeat them. Actually, I should have gone with you. Dong Hanzong sighed deeply, his face full of self-blame. The four of them looked at each other. They thought that Dong Hanzong would be angry, but they did not expect that he would comfort them and take the blame. Brother Zong, did you gain anything from this trip to the village? Dong Tianchen asked. No. This group of old things, they're all stubborn and take advantage of their seniority. Dong Hanzong's eyes flashed with killing intent. What? They dare to disobey the orders of the central dynasty? Are they rebelling? The four of them were furious. Rebelling? Even if they have the guts, they won't dare to. I guess it's because Yu Lao offended them back then, so they're holding a grudge. Dong Hanzong shook his head. That's their personal grudge, how can it affect the overall situation? Why don't we go with you now? If they don't listen, we'll kill them first. Dong Ping said furiously. Acting first and reporting later? How could it be so easy? These old fogies all have 3,000 incarnations. When they join forces, even I will have a headache. Dong Hanzong sighed. What? All of them have 3,000 incarnations? The four of them were shocked. Indeed, he couldn't be reckless. Dong Hanzong pondered for a moment, then looked at the four people and said, the most important thing right now is to think of a way to rescue Yu Lao, Neptune, and the Dragon God. It won't be easy to save them. Dong Tianchen was deeply worried. Qin Feiyang and the other two could be considered to have come into direct contact with them. They were all tyrannical masters. Furthermore, perhaps Yu Lao and the other two had already died at the hands of Qin Feiyang. Even if it's not easy, we still have to save him. This is an order from the emperor. But at the same time, Qin Feiyang and the others must also be killed. Killing intent flickered in Dong Hanzong's eyes as he looked at Dong Xian and said, you don't have to worry about anything now. Focus on reconstructing your body. All right. Dong Xian nodded. Dong Ping, think of a way to find Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng. Judging from the current situation, to deal with Qin Feiyang and the others, we must have their help. Dong Hanzong looked at Dong Ping and ordered. The 4 continents are so big. Isn't it like looking for a needle in a haystack to find 2 people? Dong Ping frowned. Not necessarily. This time, the battle between you and Qin Feiyang and the other 2 has alarmed the 4 continents. Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng will definitely receive the news. Although they don't know us, as long as they know that we are from the central dynasty, they will definitely take the initiative to look for us. Dong Hanzong said. That makes sense. Dong Ping nodded. At the same time, release another piece of news. Ask Qin Feiyang to hand over Yu Lao and the others, no matter what they ask for. Dong Hanzong said. Okay. Dong Ping nodded and immediately opened a space-time tunnel, turned around and left. What about us? Dong Tianchen asked. We'll go to the ancestral land of the purple gold divine dragon race. Dong Hanzong pondered for a while, then his eyes flashed. Dong Tianchen, Dong Xian, and the other woman looked at him suspiciously. Those old things don't listen to us, but does the king dare to not listen to us? There's also the divine king and the human race's sovereign. With our status, they have to do whatever we ask them to do. Dong Hanzong sneered. Makes sense. Dong Tianchen and the other two nodded with a cold smile on their faces. The Black Tortoise World. Soul-Sealing Valley. A pungent stench could be smelled from afar. At this moment, Yulao, Neptune, the dragon god, the various beast gods, the members of the oceanic race, and the sovereign beast of the beast race were all suppressed here. Including the Star Tower, the Sky Extinction Sword, and the God-Slaying Halberd. Since they had entered the Black Tortoise World, it had been several 100,000 years according to the time in the Black Tortoise World. Whether it was Yulao or the three sovereign divine weapons, hundreds of thousands of years was just a blink of an eye for existences at their level. But now, because of the uniqueness of the Soul-Sealing Valley, every day felt like a year to them. Especially Yulao and the others. With their ultimates taken away, they were already living a life worse than death. Now, they were suppressed in this place, suffering torture and humiliation. If they could, they would rather die. But now, they couldn't even decide their own deaths. They couldn't see any light or hope. Shwa. Suddenly, three figures appeared. It was Qin Feiyang, the madman, and the white-eyed wolf. As for Dong Zhengyang, he had already gone into seclusion to cultivate. Qin Feiyang, madman Mo, golden-winged wolf king, return the ultimates to me. You demons, I curse you to die a horrible death. As soon as the three appeared, the place was instantly filled with curses. How pitiful. The great dragon god, Neptune, beast god, and even the big shots from the central dynasty, but now, they've all become shrews. The madman's face was full of ridicule. Don't be so smug. The central dynasty won't let you off. Yulao's face was gloomy, his eyes filled with hatred. You're right about this. The people from the central dynasty have indeed come to the four great continents. Moreover, we've already fought with them. The white-eyed wolf looked at Yulao playfully. Who are the people who came? Yulao was bewildered. The 5 unparalleled geniuses of the central dynasty. The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Yulao's spirit shook. But then, he realized that something was wrong. Didn't the golden-winged wolf king say that he had already fought with the people from the central dynasty? If that was the case, why were Qin Feiyang's group standing in front of them unharmed? Could it be that even the 5 unparalleled geniuses of the central dynasty weren't a match for Qin Feiyang's group? Thinking of this, his scalp went numb. If even the 5 unparalleled geniuses weren't a match for these people, then who in the central dynasty could stop them? Although he didn't know much about the 5 unparalleled geniuses, it wasn't hard to tell from the emperor's praise of them that these 5 unparalleled geniuses could suppress the older generation. It must be fake. The madman and the white-eyed wolf must be scaring him. You still don't believe me? The white-eyed wolf shook his head. What a bunch of frogs at the bottom of a well. All right, there's no need to waste words with them. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. With a wave of his hand, the power that sealed the 3 high-grade sovereign divine weapons disappeared. The 3 high-grade sovereign divine weapons bodies were shattered, but even so, they still had some fighting power. So after the seal was removed, they immediately rushed out of the Soul-Sealing Valley, wanting to escape. Still not obedient after being sealed for so long? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. 3,000 clones appeared, instantly sealing off the area. Seeing this, The three sovereign divine weapons were terrified. Even when they were at their peak, they couldn't fight against 3,000 clones, let alone their bodies. My patience has its limits. I'll give you two choices now. One is to swear a blood oath to be loyal to us forever. The other is to have your soul destroyed. Qin Feiyang said. His tone was firm. There was no room for negotiation. Yu Lao panicked. He looked at the three sovereign divine weapons and shouted, "You can't betray the divine kingdom." Noisy. The white-eyed wolf took a step forward and smashed Yu Lao's divine soul with a slap, almost destroying it. However, this didn't make Yu Lao compromise. He continued to shout at the three sovereign divine weapons, "You are here today because of the sovereign. You can't be ungrateful. Kill him." Qin Feiyang looked at Yu Lao, killing intent flashing in his eyes. "I've had this idea for a long time." The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth and stared at Yu Lao. Yu Lao roared in horror, "You can't do this. The emperor won't let you go, and the sovereign won't let you go either. In the end, it's still unknown who will win." Killing intent flashed in the white-eyed wolf's eyes. The power of law emerged, and with a slap, Yu Lao's divine soul was destroyed on the spot. The dragon god, Neptune, and the other beast gods couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Killing Yu Lao just like that? One had to know. Yu Lao was from the Central Dynasty. Killing him was equivalent to directly challenging the Central Dynasty. Were these people really not afraid of the emperor and the sovereign's revenge? At the same time, their hearts were also filled with fear. Especially the others from the beast race and the Sea clan. In their eyes, Yu Lao was an unattainable existence. But now, Qin Feiyang and the other two even dared to kill someone like Yu Lao, let alone small characters like them. They all fell into the abyss of fear. It's finally quiet. The white-eyed wolf glanced at Neptune and the others. No one dared to look him in the eye. Qin Feiyang looked at the three sovereign divine weapons and said indifferently, "I don't have the patience to waste time with you. Hurry up and give me an answer." The three sovereign divine weapons were also trembling. Since these three dared to kill Yu Lao, naturally they would dare to kill them. For a divine weapon to grow into a sovereign divine weapon, especially a superior sovereign divine weapon, who knew how long it would take? They really didn't want to die like this. "We submit." In the end, they put down their self-esteem and submitted to Qin Feiyang. Immortal God of War latest chapter address, Immortal God of War reading address, /read/15083 /Immortal God of War TXT download address, Immortal God of War mobile reading address, /read/15083 For the convenience of reading next time, you can click on the collections below to record this time. Kill Yu Lao, divine weapons submit. Read the record, you can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Chapter 42-36. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other and smiled. Everything in this world couldn't escape the law. The stronger one was, the higher one's cultivation, the more one cared about their own life. You guys choose first. Qin Feiyang looked at the frenzied man and the white-eyed wolf and smiled. How can we accept this? The frenzied man and the white-eyed wolf smiled. However, their movements weren't slow at all. The white-eyed wolf grabbed the Tianju sword while the frenzied man grabbed the god-slaying halberd. Thus, Star Tower was left. Qin Feiyang was speechless as he looked at the two of them. Although their words sounded nice, they weren't polite at all. Soon after, he looked at the three sovereign divine weapons and said indifferently, "Make a blood oath." Since they had already compromised, there was no need to hesitate. The three high-grade ruler weapons immediately made a blood oath to never betray and to be loyal to their deaths. This daddy will also have a high-grade ruler weapon in the future. The frenzied man laughed. In the future, if he met someone like Yu Lao, he could just take out his high-grade ruler weapon and save himself a lot of trouble. Qin Feiyang looked at the three ruler weapons and said, "Go to the land of origin and repair your bodies. but remember to be ready for battle at any time." "Yes." The 3 sovereign divine weapons replied respectfully. Once the blood oath was made, they had no room to resist. Of course. If the divine kingdom's ruler appeared, they could definitely break the blood oath, but would Qin Feiyang and the other 2 give them this chance? Moreover, they were confident. The 3 high-grade ruler weapons would sooner or later truly integrate into this team. The white-eyed wolf's eyes flashed as he looked at the dragon god and the others and asked, "How should we deal with these people?" As soon as these words came out, the suppressed sea race and beast race couldn't help but tremble in fear. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. "Don't kill us. We can serve you." The dragon god roared. "Dragon god, what did you say?" Neptune looked at the dragon god in shock and anger. "Do we have a choice? If you don't submit, you will die." The dragon god roared. Neptune went silent. He had seen the methods of Qin Feiyang's group with his own eyes. Yu Lao was the best outcome. Besides, even the 3 high-grade dominator weapons had submitted to him. What was the point of resisting? "Submit," Qin Feiyang murmured. Suddenly, he smiled and said, "If it was before, would be happy to hear this. But now, your ultimate meaning has been taken away. What value do you have in keeping you alive?" "It's valuable. I can help you find out more about the Central Dynasty." The dragon said. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, "I don't need you to help me investigate the details of the Central Dynasty." "What do you mean?" The dragon god was surprised. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and didn't answer. His eyes suddenly flashed with killing intent as he looked at the 3 high-grade sovereign divine weapons. He smiled and said, "Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Kill them all." "We kill?" The 3 high-grade ruler weapons were stunned. "Yes. You kill. Don't tell me you can't do it." Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a cold light. God-slaying halberd, Tianju sword, and star pagoda were silent for a while before suddenly roaring. "Kill." Immediately. The 3 high-grade ruler weapons charged into Soul-Sealing Valley. Although their bodies were seriously injured, the dragon god and the others were even worse. Not only were their ultimate mysteries stolen, but they were also fatally injured. "Qin Feiyang, you will die a horrible death, you will die without descendants, you devil, no, I beg you, give us a way to live, for a time." Curses, screams, and begging for mercy were endless. In just a few dozen breaths of time, everyone from the Sea Clan and the Beast Clan were killed. Soul-Sealing Valley also slowly quieted down. From the beginning to the end, Qin Feiyang and the other 2 watched coldly as the 3 high-grade ruler weapons slaughtered. Whether it was the Sea Clan or the Beast Clan, they could not sympathize with them. Because if they were in a different position now, the Sea Clan and the Beast Clan would not be merciful to them either. They might even be more ruthless. "Are you satisfied? Now even if we want to turn back, there is no chance." The 3 high-grade ruler weapons looked at Qin Feiyang and said with some anger. "That's right." Qin Feiyang let the 3 high-grade ruler weapons attack in order to completely cut off the 3 high-grade ruler weapons' thoughts. The Sea Clan and the Beast Clan were the confidants of the Divine Kingdom's ruler. Now, the 3 high-grade ruler weapons had slaughtered the Sea Clan and the Beast Clan. In the future, the 3 high-grade ruler weapons would naturally not dare to find the Divine Kingdom's ruler. Because with the personality of the Divine Kingdom's ruler, if he knew about this, he would definitely not be merciful to them. In the eyes of people like them, high-grade ruler weapons were very powerful existences, but in the eyes of the Divine Kingdom's ruler, they were not worth much. If they want you to be destroyed, you have to be destroyed. What? Do you really have other thoughts? Qin Feiyang looked at the 3 high-grade ruler weapons unkindly. How would we dare? The blood oath has already been made. The 3 high-grade ruler weapons sighed. It's good that you know. Follow us well, and we will not treat you badly in the future. Go to the land of source. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. The three divine weapons were filled with helplessness as they flew up into the sky and soon disappeared. The power of source, it seems that we haven't been there yet. White-eyed Wolf looked at the sky and muttered. That's right. Why don't we discuss with Little Brat and let us go take a look? Madman looked at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. Although he was the ruler of the Black Tortoise world in name, Little Brat was actually the one who could make the decision. However, what role did Little Brat play in the Black Tortoise world? Swish. At this moment, a space-time passage appeared. It was Dong Zhengyang, who went into seclusion. What's wrong? Qin Feiyang and the other two came back to their senses and looked at him suspiciously. Lord Jiao and the others are looking for you. After Dong Zhengyang finished speaking, he took out the sound transmission god stone. Buzz. Soon, the figures of a group of old people appeared. These old people were all in the secret room below the village at this moment, looking very vigilant. Greetings, great-grandfather and great-grandmother. Qin Feiyang bowed. Starting to miss us so soon. White-eyed Wolf also grimaced. Seeing that the group of old people were safe and sound, they couldn't help but feel relieved in their hearts. Miss you? I think you're thinking too much. Lord Jiao glared at White-eyed Wolf, looked at the three of them and praised. Little Wang has already told us about the battle between you and Dong Xian's group. Well done. Of course. Don't you know who we are? White-eyed Wolf smiled proudly. The corner of Lord Jiao's mouth twitched. He really couldn't stand the praise and said, this time, I didn't send you a message to listen to you brag. Qin Feiyang and the other three looked at each other, and a trace of suspicion crept up on their faces. Lord Jiao said, although Dong Hanzong has left the village, he doesn't intend to stop here. He left just like that? White-eyed Wolf was surprised. How could he leave by himself? I drove him away. Lord Jiao sneered. Strong. White-eyed Wolf was taken aback and immediately couldn't help but give a thumbs up. You're kidding. Just a little brat, how can you let him ride on your head and behave atrociously? Lord Jiao smiled domineeringly. Did you record it down? I really want to see his expression at that time. White-eyed Wolf bared his teeth. Childish. Lord Jiao rolled his eyes speechlessly and said, but now, they all ran to our clan's land, and it seems that they plan to stay there forever. They even asked the Divine King and the Supreme of the human race to meet them and discuss how to deal with you. Lord Jiao snorted and said, these little brats really think of the 4 great continents as their home. They can do whatever they want. After all, they are the 5 unparalleled geniuses of the Central Dynasty. It's normal to be proud and arrogant. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. What kind of geniuses are they? This old man doesn't care about them at all. Lord Jiao disdained and continued, in addition, they also released the news that they want you to hand over Yu Lao and the others, and they will agree to any conditions. Ah. Qin Feiyang and the other two were stunned. What? Lord Jiao looked at them suspiciously. Ahem. Qin Feiyang coughed dryly and said with a smile, just now, we killed all of them. Ah. The group of elders was stunned. That was too fast. Originally, they wanted to use Yu Lao and the others to extort the Central Dynasty, because these people's ultimate meaning had been taken away. Even if they were released, they wouldn't pose any threat to them. Actually, there's nothing to extort. What do we want now? Madman waved his hand indifferently. That's true. The group of elders nodded. These brats had sovereign divine weapons. They also had ultimate meaning. As for resources, they had looted the entire East Continent's spirit veins and crystal veins. It could be said that now, the combined resources of the 3 major clans were probably less than 1/10,000th of these brats. There's one more thing. Dong Ping seems to be outside looking for Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng. That's what we're worried about. 5 unparalleled geniuses, plus Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng. I'm afraid even you have to avoid them. Lord Jiu said. Lu Yuntian, Lu Yunfeng, Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other and a meaningful smile appeared on their faces. There was no need to worry about that at all. What's with that expression? Aren't you worried at all? Lord Jiu frowned. I'm worried. The white-eyed wolf nodded repeatedly. Is that so? Why can't I see that you're worried? Lord Jiu's face darkened. Did this look like someone who was worried? After all, the eunuchs were more worried than the emperor. You don't have to show that you're worried. The white-eyed wolf grinned and thought for a while. Compared to brother Lu Yunfeng, I'm more interested in Dong Ping now. Is he outside alone now? Yes. Lord Jiu nodded. Hearing this, the white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang and Madman with a sly smile. Looks like we don't need to remind you. Seeing this, Boss Ji chuckled. The white-eyed wolf looked at Lord Jiu in a daze. We didn't say anything. Do as you see fit. Lord Jiu quickly waved his hand. Treacherous old fox. The white-eyed wolf cursed and said, Then you have to give us an accurate location. Madman bared his teeth. We don't know either. Go find him yourself. Anyway, be quick when the time comes. Lord Jiu said and then looked at Lord Jiu. Lord Jiu waved his hand and the voice transmission stone turned off. The group of old men disappeared. Madman was stunned and speechless. If you don't tell us Dong Ping's location, how are we going to hunt him? Isn't it easy to know Dong Ping's location? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. That's right. Don't forget that we have a young man named Mu Qing with us. The white-eyed wolf chuckled. Madman paused and then laughed dryly. I forgot about him. Come on, let's go back to the Devil's Land and kill Dong Ping. Then we'll send his body to the purple gold divine dragon's territory as a gift to the central dynasty. Qin Feiyang, the white-eyed wolf, and Dong Xingyang also smiled when they heard this. Chapter 42-37. Southern Continent. This was the territory of the Protoss. Star Moon City. There was a restaurant called the Moon Pavilion. The Moon Pavilion was the largest and most luxurious restaurant in Star Moon City. Star Moon City was one of the top cities in the southern continent. There were many powerful people in the city. The city lord of Star Moon City was someone who had mastered 4 ultimate profundities of supreme laws and 2 ultimate profundities of ordinary laws. Because of this, most of the people who went in and out of the Moon Pavilion were powerful or powerful people. Because of the luxurious and high-end Moon Pavilion, many young people liked to come here to have fun. At this moment, in the main hall, by the window, a young man in blood-red clothes sat alone at a table with delicious delicacies and a few jars of divine wine beside him. He drank the divine wine while leisurely looking through the window at the pedestrians coming and going on the street. There were humans and Protoss among the pedestrians. Don't say it. This woman from the god race sure looks unique. The young man in blood-red clothes stared at a rather sweet-looking Protoss woman and muttered to himself. This person was Dong Ping. He sat in the restaurant in a very ostentatious manner. All the guests in the main hall, whether they were humans or Protoss, were extremely wary of him. Because the battle between Dong Ping and Qin Feiyang's group had already spread across the 4 great continents, everyone was no stranger to Dong Ping now. He was a prodigy from the central dynasty. Moreover, he was someone who dared to confront Qin Feiyang's group head-on. Who would dare to be presumptuous in the face of such a prodigy? Everyone was very careful when they spoke, afraid that they would disturb Dong Ping. Who won the battle between them and Qin Feiyang? Who knows? At that time, all the living beings in the Western continent, except for the Lord, the Divine King, and Jizun, withdrew. But now, the Lord, the Divine King, and Jizun have not revealed anything about the battle. Why don't you make a guess? Lower your voice. Don't let him hear you. Otherwise, we'll have to bear the consequences. I know. If you really want to guess, this person came to the Moon Pavilion unscathed to drink, so they're probably the winners. Not necessarily. All of us have witnessed Qin Feiyang and the other two's strength. Furthermore, if the ones who lost were truly Qin Feiyang and the others, then those people from the Central Dynasty would have definitely spread the news everywhere. Thus, I think that the ones who won should be Qin Feiyang and the others. Some people were whispering to each other. Some were secretly communicating, aiding. In short, they were very careful. Tap tap. Tap. Along with the sound of footsteps, 3 young men in luxurious clothes walked in. Arrogant and condescending, he was clearly a hedonistic son of a wealthy family. The 3 of them scanned the hall, and there seemed to be a glint in their eyes. They walked to the empty table next to Dong Ping and shouted, "Waiter, give us a few bottles of divine wine." Dong Ping glanced at the 3 people and raised his eyebrows slightly. What kind of playboy is this? Can't he see that the Central Dynasty's elites are sitting next to him? The waiter of the restaurant hurried over and looked at Dong Ping nervously. He then whispered to the 3 playboys, "Young masters, please lower your voice." Lower my voice? What do you mean? Isn't the restaurant a place to eat, drink, and have fun? Why are you acting like thieves? One of the playboys frowned. Yes, yes, yes. The waiter smiled apologetically and said, "Young master, you're right. The restaurant should have a lively atmosphere, but the situation is different now. There's a big shot from the Central Dynasty here." A big shot from the Central Dynasty? Who? The 3 playboys looked around the hall curiously. Looking at these 3 ignorant playboys, everyone was speechless. The waiter was also depressed. Where did these 3 idiots come from? Everyone knew about the battle between the Central Dynasty's 4 elites and Qin Feiyang's group in the West Continent, but these 3 idiots didn't know? Suddenly, the waiter sensed a murderous aura. He hurriedly looked at Dong Ping and said with a flattering smile, "Sir, please don't be angry. I'll ask them to be quiet." The 3 hedonistic sons also looked at Dong Ping. "You're the big shot from the Central Dynasty. Do you have evidence?" One of the playboys stared at him curiously and asked. Dong Ping was stunned. Evidence was needed? It seemed that these 3 were really good-for-nothings. "Shut up, you guys." The waiter was burning with anxiety. He pointed upstairs and said in a pleading tone, "If the 3 of you really want a lively atmosphere, please go to the private room upstairs." However, the 3 playboys turned a deaf ear. One of them walked behind Dong Ping casually and patted Dong Ping on the shoulder. He smiled and said, "Brother, you've got guts. How dare you pretend to be someone from the Central Dynasty?" Dong Ping's body stiffened, and a wisp of rage flashed between his brows as he glanced at the hand that pressed down on his shoulder. "I'm not pretending. Who dares to pretend to be someone from the Central Dynasty? Hurry up and go upstairs. Don't disturb this sir anymore." The waiter comforted Dong Ping while looking anxiously at the 3 playboys. Weren't they courting death? It didn't matter if they wanted to die, but they couldn't implicate the Moon Pavilion. The Moon Pavilion was just a place for business. How could it withstand the anger of such a big shot? "Are you really from the Central Dynasty?" The 3 playboys looked at the waiter and the surrounding customers in disbelief. "Take your dirty hands off me." As a cold voice sounded, a huge force appeared. The playboy who was pressing on Dong Ping's shoulder was pushed back on the spot. The playboy's face was pale. "Sir, please calm down, please calm down." The waiter apologized profusely. He looked at the 3 playboys and said angrily, "Why aren't you apologizing to the sir?" The 3 playboys finally reacted. Sorry. Sir, we didn't recognize Mount Tai. Please don't take it to heart." "We'll shut up immediately." The three playboys bowed and ran to the table at the side. They sat there with pale faces and trembling. There are such trash in the 4 great continents. Dong Ping looked at the 3 playboys with undisguised disdain in his eyes. Such trash didn't even have the right to make him attack. So, Dong Ping ignored the 3 playboys and continued to look at the passers-by outside the window. Now you know what fear is. The waiter heaved a sigh of relief. He glared at the 3 playboys and turned to leave. After a while, he brought 3 pots of divine wine and a few dishes. Before he left, he didn't forget to remind the 3 playboys not to provoke the prodigy of the Central Dynasty. The 3 playboys nodded and agreed. Soon, the hall returned to dead silence. However, no one noticed, including Dong Ping, that the eyes of these 3 young men who seemed to be hedonistic sons of rich parents were suffused with strands of bright light. This guy is even more arrogant than me. He came here to drink and didn't even let others speak. One of them secretly transmitted his voice. He's asking for a beating. Another one pursed his lips and transmitted his voice. Little Qin Zi, why don't you do it? That's right. These 3 playboys were Qin Feiyang, the lunatic, and the white-eyed wolf. Mu Qing's omniscient eye was really powerful. As long as one knew the appearance or name, no matter where the other party was, one could clearly peek at them. Even if Dong Ping changed his appearance now, he couldn't escape the omniscient eye's tracking. I definitely can't do it now, Qin Feiyang secretly said. Dong Ping was not weak and had the undying domain. To kill him, one had to go all out. This was the key. Once they attacked here, not to mention the Moon Tower, even Xingyu's city could not be saved. The god race and the human race in Xingyu's city would also be affected. If they were still enemies with the god race and the human race, it didn't matter. But the problem now was that the Divine King and Jizun had allied with them. If he destroyed Xingyu's city and killed the god race and the human race in the city, the Divine King and Jizun would definitely settle the score with him. So, to deal with Dong Ping, he had to first lure him out of the city and find a place where there were very few people. But how could he trick him out? Qin Feiyang lowered his head and pondered. Suddenly, he noticed Dong Ping's abnormality. This person had been looking out of the window. What was he looking at? So, Qin Feiyang was drinking while paying attention to Dong Ping. Very soon, he found a clue. Dong Ping's gaze was actually on the women walking on the street. Could it be that Dong Ping had this hobby? Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed and he transmitted his voice. White-eyed wolf, senior brother, I have thought of 2 ways. What way? The 2 of them were drinking happily and looked at him suspiciously. The first way is to pretend to be Big Cousin and the inner demons. Anyway, isn't he waiting for the inner demons and Big Cousin now? As for the second way, Qin Feiyang secretly laughed and muttered a few words. Huh. The 2 of them were stunned and secretly observed Dong Ping. Sure enough, as Qin Feiyang said, this Dong Ping seemed to be a little greedy for women. You guys decide. Do you want to use the first way or the second way? Qin Feiyang secretly said. Nonsense. Of course we'll use the second way. It's more interesting this way. Madman was in high spirits. I'll also use the second way. White-eyed wolf secretly replied and also laughed sinisterly. You 2 guys. Qin Feiyang shook his head and transmitted his voice. All right, you guys stay put for the time being. I'll go and meet him. After that, he picked up the wine pot, got up and walked to the opposite side of Dong Ping. Chapter 42-38. Dong Ping sensed Qin Feiyang and frowned slightly. The other customers who were whispering immediately looked at Qin Feiyang when they saw this scene. What was this idiot trying to do? The waiter of the restaurant changed his expression and immediately put down his work. He was ready to deal with any sudden changes that might happen next. Is this really that? A frightened bird, a soldier in every bush. The madman shook his head and smiled bitterly. A casual action actually made these people so nervous. How could their psychological quality be so bad? Qin Feiyang looked at Dong Ping and said with a flattering smile, "Big brother, please calm down. I'm here to apologize. I hope you can forgive me for offending you just now. You're not tactful at all." However, not only did Dong Ping not accept Qin Feiyang's apology, he stared at Qin Feiyang with disgust. "Me?" Qin Feiyang had a panicked expression as he hurriedly asked, "Big brother, what did I do?" "You didn't do anything wrong, but what you said has made a fatal mistake." Dong Ping's eyes flashed coldly. I'm here to apologize. I didn't say anything wrong, right?" Qin Feiyang's face was filled with fear. He vividly displayed the cowardice of a playboy. Dong Ping said indifferently, "Then think carefully. What did you say just now?" Qin Feiyang recalled and said in fear, "What I said seems to be, big brother, please calm down." Without waiting for Qin Feiyang to finish, Dong Ping opened his mouth and said, "You still haven't realized such an obvious problem?" "What problem?" Qin Feiyang was at a complete loss. Was there a problem with this? The madman and the white-eyed wolf were also pondering. Such a humble and polite apology, what problem could there be? "Bastard. What qualifications do you have to call me brother?" Dong Ping was furious. He slammed the table and glared at Qin Feiyang. "I see." Qin Feiyang, the mad scientist, and the white-eyed wolf were suddenly enlightened. It turned out that he had angered this person because he had called him Big Brother. What a joke. Even calling him Big Brother would offend him. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded repeatedly and said apologetically, I'm sorry, it's this little brother, no, it's this little one's fault. I hope Big Brother, no, please forgive me. That's more like it." Dong Ping's expression eased a lot. One must know how to be tactful. I am a peerless genius of the Central Dynasty, and you are just a playboy from the 4 great continents. What right do you have to call me brother? Isn't this lowering my status as a genius? Milord, I'll punish myself with 3 cups of wine for my previous offense. Qin Feiyang poured 3 cups of wine in a row and drank them all in one gulp. What the arrogant Dong Ping didn't know was that he should be the one feeling honored. Because for Qin Feiyang, drinking depended on the person. In other words, only when he met someone he respected, someone he admired, would he accompany them for a few drinks. Have you finished drinking? Then get out of here. Don't be an eyesore. Dong Ping didn't appreciate it and looked at him with contempt as if he was looking at a fly. Qin Feiyang wasn't angry. After all, he was a playboy now. How could he be angry? However, Qin Feiyang didn't know how to continue the conversation with this kind of attitude of sticking his hot face to a cold butt. Because he was not a flatterer. After thinking for a while, his eyes suddenly lit up and he nodded. Okay, as long as you are not angry, milord, I'll take my leave. Then he took the wine cup, twisted the wine pot, got up and went back to the table. Seeing this, the waiter of the restaurant finally breathed a sigh of relief. Old Qin, you can't do this. After talking for a long time, you still haven't got to the point. The madman looked at Qin Feiyang with contempt. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Watch me. Watch how I'm going to fool him. The madman smiled sinisterly. Don't go. Qin Feiyang hurriedly stopped him and said, I just came back. If you run over now, maybe he will be suspicious. I have thought of a better and more direct way. What way? The madman and the white-eyed wolf were curious. Watch carefully. Qin Feiyang smiled secretly, put down the wine cup, got up and walked towards the door. Seeing Qin Feiyang suddenly get up, the waiter thought that Qin Feiyang was going to provoke Dong Ping again. His heart that had just been relieved was instantly in his throat. However, when he saw that Qin Feiyang had left the restaurant, he heaved a sigh of relief. This playboy was really torturing. In fact, no matter what restaurant it was, they were very welcoming to playboys. That was because hedonistic young masters were extravagant in their spending. That way, their restaurants would earn more. But it was different now. Dong Ping was sitting here, and the waiter wished that these playboys could all get out of here so as not to bring trouble to the restaurant. Not long after Qin Feiyang left, he returned to the restaurant. At the same time, there was also a burst of fragrance that poured into the restaurant hall. At Qin Feiyang's side, there was a stunning woman. This woman was Fire Lotus. Fire Lotus had never left the Black Tortoise realm, so even if she didn't change her appearance, no one would recognize her. And Fire Lotus's beauty was needless to say. Whether it was her appearance or her figure, they were both devastatingly beautiful. Especially now, she deliberately dressed up, which made her look even more charming. As expected, the arrival of Fire Lotus immediately attracted the attention of all the men present. Your sister. This is too unreasonable. A playboy actually knows such a beautiful woman. Whether it is temperament or other aspects, they are not on the same level. It is simply a flower inserted in cow dung. Everyone was indignant in their hearts. When Dong Ping heard the commotion, he couldn't help but look at Fire Lotus, and his eyes lit up. She was truly a peerless beauty. When he saw Qin Feiyang beside her, the jealousy in his heart couldn't help but climb up uncontrollably. How could such a playboy be worthy of such a woman with such temperament? When the white-eyed wolf and the frenzy saw Fire Lotus appear, they suddenly realized that Qin Feiyang was planning to use a beauty trap. Let's go. Qin Feiyang pulled Fire Lotus and walked towards the frenzy and the white-eyed wolf with a smug look on his face. This woman is really blind. Why did she fall for this scum? Am I not better than this playboy? Many men couldn't help but compare themselves with Qin Feiyang in their hearts, and with such a comparison, their hearts felt even more unbalanced. Qin Feiyang crossed his legs and looked at Fire Lotus under everyone's jealous gaze, and asked, "Tea or wine?" Nonsense. Of course we are here to drink. Moreover, if she doesn't drink, you won't have a chance. The frenzy played along with the act and laughed. What nonsense are you talking about? If you continue, I will leave. Fire Lotus glared at the frenzy and pouted. Don't. The frenzy quickly pulled Fire Lotus's hand and gritted his teeth. Your little hand is so slippery. Scram. Fire Lotus's face darkened. Although it was an act, she couldn't say everything, right? Those who didn't know would think that she was a loose woman. This is really unreasonable. Why is the heavens so unfair? I beg you to bestow me a beauty of the highest quality as well. Everyone wailed in their hearts. Qin Feiyang was constantly paying attention to Dong Ping and noticed that when Fire Lotus entered the restaurant, Dong Ping would occasionally glance at Fire Lotus. He became more and more certain of his judgment. This Dong Ping was definitely a scumbag. At this moment, Huo Lian displayed the charm of a mature woman to the fullest, becoming the center of attention for all the men here. About half an hour later, Qin Feiyang put down his wine cup and looked at Fire Lotus with a smile. Why don't we go outside the city? A few days ago, I accidentally ran into a valley. Not only is the scenery beautiful, there are also many fun things. Really? Fire Lotus looked at Qin Feiyang and asked innocently. Woman, don't go. Don't go. These playboys definitely won't feel at ease. Someone roared in their heart. Qin Feiyang nodded. Okay. Fire Lotus nodded without hesitation. What a silly woman. You won't even know what happened when you get eaten. A man next to him shook his head. Waiter, bill. Qin Feiyang waved at the waiter standing in front of the counter. The waiter quickly ran over. When he saw Fire Lotus, his eyes were filled with amazement. At the same time, he was envious. It seemed that being a playboy had its benefits. Qin Feiyang was very generous. He took out a large pile of soul stones and threw it to the waiter. Then, he led Fire Lotus and Frenzy out without looking back. All of a sudden, I also want to be a playboy. A young man shook his head and sighed. You? To be a playboy, you also need to have the capital. Wait for your next life. If you find a powerful father in your next life, then you will have the qualifications to be a playboy. The young man's companions couldn't help but laugh at him. Looking at the backs of Qin Feiyang and the other three, Dong Ping's eyes flashed. He didn't follow. On the street, there was an endless stream of people and carriages. Qin Feiyang and the other three walked in the crowd, paying attention to their backs at all times, but they didn't see Dong Ping's figure. Don't waste so much time. He didn't have the intention at all. White-Eyed Wolf muttered. Then we can only say that our Fire Lotus sister's charm isn't good enough. Frenzy bared his teeth. Fire Lotus immediately rolled her eyes and said angrily, "It's obvious that you can use the name of the inner demons and Lu Jiajin to easily lure this person out of the city. Why do you have to do such a fancy thing? This is Senior Brother and White-Eyed Wolf's idea. It has nothing to do with me." Qin Feiyang hurriedly distanced himself from the matter. Fire Lotus looked at Frenzy and White-Eyed Wolf and said speechlessly, "I knew it was you two wicked guys. Don't talk nonsense." This idea was obviously little Qin Zi's idea. White-Eyed Wolf said angrily. "Ah." Fire Lotus looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. Ahem. Qin Feiyang coughed dryly and turned his head to hide the awkwardness on his face. But suddenly, the corner of his mouth lifted slightly and he said with a smile, "Pay attention to the back." The three of them were stunned and secretly glanced at the crowd behind them. They saw a blood-haired young man mixed in the crowd. If it wasn't Dong Ping, who else could it be? The fish finally took the bait. Chapter 42-39. The boundless mountain was filled with vitality and vitality. About an hour passed. A group of 4 people arrived while talking and laughing, landing at the entrance of a valley. It was Qin Feiyang, Madman, White-Eyed Wolf, and Fire Lotus. There was naturally no lack of valleys in the mountains. They could be found anywhere. Moreover, this place was very far from Star Moon City. As long as they finished the battle quickly, they shouldn't affect the living beings of Star Moon City. The 4 of them looked at each other and entered the valley without looking back. Just as they entered the valley, Dong Ping's foot landed at the entrance of the valley. Sweeping his gaze over the entrance of the valley, he also took a step forward. Like a ghost, he walked in stealthily. "What are you doing?" But before he entered the valley, an angry shout came from inside. It was Fire Lotus's voice. "Don't you know what we're doing?" Madman's voice sounded with a trace of wretchedness. "You're beasts, let go of me," Fire Lotus roared. "Don't waste your energy. This person is extremely rare, it's useless even if you shout until your throat breaks." White-Eyed Wolf's voice sounded. "Scum." Hearing these voices, Dong Ping cursed in his heart and rushed into the valley like lightning. He saw Fire Lotus being blocked by Qin Feiyang and the other 2 in a corner. "You 3 scum, let go of her," Dong Ping shouted. But he couldn't help but be overjoyed. Wasn't this a ready-made hero saving the beauty? Who's so blind to ruin our good thing? Qin Feiyang and the other 2 raised their eyebrows and turned to look at Dong Ping. Their faces immediately changed and they asked while trembling, "Sir, why is it you?" "Young master, save me." Fire Lotus also stretched out her helpless little hand to Dong Ping. Her pitiful appearance made one's heart ache. Scram! Dong Ping's aura exploded, and with an angry shout, it directly shook Qin Feiyang and the other 2 to vomit blood. The 3 of them were terrified and quickly retreated to the side. Fire Lotus immediately ran towards Dong Ping. Her tear-stained face immediately captured Dong Ping's heart. She comforted him, "I'm here. It'll be fine." "Thank you, young master." Fire Lotus wiped her tears and glared at Qin Feiyang and the other two. I didn't expect you guys to be such scum. White-eyed wolf gloomily looked at Fire Lotus, then looked at Dongping and smiled obsequiously. Big brother. No, my lord, if you like, we can give it to you. Shut up. For me? What do you take women for? Dongping said furiously. We're all men, so we know what's going on. Why do you have to do this? The white-eyed wolf smiled obsequiously. Don't compare yourself to me. You bastards, even if you die, you deserve to die. Dongping shouted righteously. Yes. It's our fault. We'll scram right now. Madman nodded and quickly ran out of the valley. Stop. Dongping's gaze turned cold. Do you have any other orders? The three of them stopped and looked at Dongping in fear. Did I ask you to leave again? Dongping put on a smug expression. Because Fire Lotus was looking at him with admiration, this made him feel even more proud. He shouted, kneel down right now and apologize to this lady. If she doesn't forgive you, then all of you will die today. Apologize to her? The three of them were stunned. Is there a problem? Dongping raised his eyebrows. No. Qin Feiyang and the other two waved their hands. However, they sneered in their hearts. This guy really knows how to pretend to be a good person. If it was a naive girl, she might really fall for him and even marry him on the spot. Then hurry up. Dongping shouted coldly. I'm sorry, it's all our fault. Please speak for us and let us go. We won't dare to. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at Fire Lotus and begged. The corner of Fire Lotus's mouth twitched. Why don't you become actors? What a waste of talent. Dongping turned to look at Fire Lotus and revealed a smile that he thought was very good. He said, Lady, I'll do whatever you say to them. Really? Fire Lotus looked at him charmingly. Yes. Dongping nodded. Looking at her rosy skin and charming eyes, he couldn't help but feel restless. That's what you said. Fire Lotus said. I said it. Dongping smiled. Then Fire Lotus looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two, then looked at Dongping and said, I want you to die. Okay. I'll let them die. Dongping nodded. He was so proud that he didn't hear Fire Lotus's words clearly. She meant, I want you to die. In the end, Dongping thought that she wanted Qin Feiyang and the other two to die. Frenzy was stunned and secretly laughed. This guy's brain doesn't seem to work well when he sees women. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf secretly laughed. Die, all of you. Dongping's eyes flashed with killing intent as an ultimate law appeared. His body stood straight, looking majestic. This is ultimate law. Qin Feiyang and the other two's faces changed. Fire Lotus also looked at Dongping in shock. Don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. Dongping smiled at Fire Lotus. You're amazing. You've even comprehended the ultimate law. Fire Lotus looked at him as if she was looking at her idol, her eyes filled with admiration. This undoubtedly made Dongping even more complacent and almost forgot himself. It's okay. He said it very modestly, but the arrogance in his expression was not concealed at all. Lord, we really know our mistake, please let us go. Qin Feiyang and the other two all showed a look of horror, and even their bodies were trembling. Let you go? Dongping sneered. If I let you go, how can I capture this woman's heart? For the sake of my blissful sex life later, all of you can go to hell for me. The ultimate law attacked the three of them. His face was full of confidence. These three hedonistic sons of rich parents could be easily squashed to death with just a finger, let alone ultimate laws and ultimate profundities. You're really a good man. Fortunately, I'm not a woman, otherwise I would want to marry you. White-eyed wolf really couldn't help but laugh out loud. Tears came out of his eyes. Damn. I haven't played enough. Frenzy glared at him. I can't hold it in. White-eyed wolf expressed his innocence. What's the situation? Dong Ping looked at the two in a daze. Were they scared silly? It was also at this moment. He suddenly felt a tearing pain in his lower abdomen, and the ultimate law that attacked Qin Feiyang and the other two also dissipated. Dong Ping was stunned and instinctively looked down, only to see a dagger in his lower abdomen, piercing his energy reserve, and drops of blood flowed out. The hand that grabbed the dagger was Fire Lotus next to him. What's going on? Dong Ping was stunned. Lord, I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. I was really scared out of my wits. I wanted to kill them, but I accidentally hurt you. I'll help you stop the bleeding, Fire Lotus said in a panic, and after saying that, she pulled out the dagger, and blood spurted out of the wound like a blood arrow. But the next moment, she stabbed Dong Ping's lower abdomen again. Dong Ping looked at Fire Lotus in shock and anger. Fire Lotus pulled out the dagger again and retreated to the side of Qin Feiyang and the other two. She blinked her bright eyes and said in a charming voice, I really didn't do it on purpose, young master, you have to believe me. Dong Ping raised his head and looked at the four of them. The four of them looked at each other with a mocking smile. Dong Ping finally reacted. They were teasing him. You dare to tease me? You must have eaten the guts of a leopard. In an instant, Dong Ping's face became incomparably ferocious. Frenzy rolled his eyes and sneered, so what if we tease you? Do you really think you're a big shot? You're courting death. Dong Ping said word by word with a murderous aura. Courting death? Your energy reserve is destroyed and you've lost your cultivation. Even if we stand here and don't move, what can you do to us? Geniuses of the Central Dynasty? What the hell? You think we're really rich? Wrong. We're not rich, we're super rich. If you dare to offend us, even if you're from the Central Dynasty, you'll have to kneel down before us. Frenzy sneered. Not a dandy, but a super dandy? Is there a difference? The white-eyed wolf looked at Frenzy in astonishment. Of course there's a difference. How can an ordinary rich be compared to us three super rich? Frenzy smiled proudly. That's true. The white-eyed wolf nodded and looked at Dong Ping with a proud smile. How about it? Have you seen our methods? The three of us super rich, that's not an undeserved reputation. Dong Ping looked at Frenzy and the white-eyed wolf and laughed angrily. At present, he hadn't seen through the identities of the three and thought that they were here to take revenge on him after being humiliated by him in the Moon Pavilion. You wanted us to kneel down before, right? Fine. Now, you kneel down for us too. As long as you kowtow to us a few times and call us Grandpa, we'll spare your dog life. Frenzy looked at him mockingly. Kneel? Kowtow? Call me Grandpa, Dong Ping murmured. Boom. A monstrous murderous aura erupted as he roared, you guys really don't know what's good for you. The undead domain was activated. His shattered sea of chi and the wound on his lower abdomen instantly healed. What? Qin Feiyang and the other two were dumbfounded. This must be a dream. They rubbed their eyes and looked at Dong Ping's lower abdomen again, revealing a look of disbelief. Fire Lotus was speechless. He was still acting. He was addicted to acting, right? However, this Dong Ping was indeed stupid to the point of being cute. He didn't even think about it. If it was really just three rich kids, would they dare to provoke people from the Central Dynasty? It would be too late to curry favor with them. Dong Ping laughed sinisterly, pay the price for your stupidity. An ultimate profundity of an ultimate law once again appeared out of thin air and charged furiously towards Qin Feiyang's group of four. Run! Frenzy shouted anxiously. The white-eyed wolf immediately swept up the three of them and activated momentary time. Without looking back, they rushed out of the valley and fled into the distance. Immortal God of War will continue to be updated in the new book pavilion. There are no advertisements in the website. Please bookmark and recommend the new book pavilion. Chapter 4240. You even mastered the law of time? Not bad. Dong Ping smiled coldly. He activated instant time and chased after them like lightning. My lord, we were wrong. I didn't lie to you this time. I really know my mistake. Please be magnanimous and let us go. Madman turned his head and shouted in panic. Go to hell and repent slowly. Dong Ping's killing intent surged. He was really angry. As one of the 5 unparalleled geniuses of the Central Dynasty, no one dared to play with him like this. This was simply challenging his bottom line. You really won't let us go? Madman said angrily. So what if I am? Dong Ping sneered. Just a few playboys, what can they do? Fine. Then don't blame us for being impolite. Madman roared. The 4 of them immediately stopped. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent the fire lotus back to the Black Tortoise world. Dong Ping was stunned. They actually stopped. It seemed that they were not only stupid but also ignorant. You forced us to do this. The white-eyed wolf stared at Dong Ping gloomily. And then? Dong Ping looked at the white-eyed wolf with a smile that wasn't a smile. He had decided. He couldn't just kill the 3 of them like this. He had to torture them and let them have a taste of life worse than death. Even a rabbit will bite when cornered. Madman said in a deep voice. Then come and bite me. Do you have the ability? A few pieces of trash dare to provoke me. You think that everything will be fine after sending that woman into a spatial artifact? Ridiculous. After I kill you all, I will slowly deal with her. Dong Ping smiled sinisterly. That ultimate profundity, the strongest law, instantly shattered the sky and shot towards Qin Feiyang and the other 2. He didn't even activate the will of heaven, yet he was so confident. Who is this laughable person? The white-eyed wolf raised the corner of his mouth. An ultimate profound of the law of death instantly appeared high up in the sky, carrying with it a monstrous might as it blasted out. What? Dong Ping was stunned. Such a hedonistic sun could actually take out an ultimate profundity of an ultimate law? Boom! With a loud bang, the 2 ultimate mysteries collided. Because neither of them had activated the will of the Great Path, the difference in power was not bad. After a few breaths of time, the 2 ultimate profound meanings collapsed one after another. The people of the Central Dynasty are just SOSO. The white-eyed wolf was disdainful. The madman and Qin Feiyang looked at each other and moved to the sides, preparing to surround Dong Ping. That's all? Who gave you the courage to say such things to me? Dong Ping sneered. An ultimate profundity appeared, and the will of the heavenly Tao erupted. What? It's actually the will of the heavenly Tao. The white-eyed wolf's expression suddenly changed. Do you know what the will of the heavenly Tao means? This means that I have mastered at least 6 ultimate profundities of supreme laws. A piece of trash like you wants to fight me? You better wake up quickly. Dong Ping laughed arrogantly. His ultimate profound carried the will of the heavenly Tao, crushing the earth and mountains as he attacked the white-eyed wolf. I'm so scared. I'm about to be scared to death. The white-eyed wolf patted his chest with a look of horror. However, the next moment, the ultimate profundity of the law of death appeared again, and a terrifying will of the heavenly Tao erupted. This, Dong Ping, who was feeling proud, suddenly widened his eyes. He actually mastered the will of the heavenly Tao? How was this possible? A mere hedonistic sun could never have such powerful strength. Could it be? Dong Ping's eyes trembled. There were only a few experts in the 4 continents who had comprehended the will of the heavenly Tao. Therefore, it was not difficult to guess. The experts of the god race, the human race, and the purple gold divine dragon race would definitely not attack him, nor would they have the guts to attack him. The experts of the sea race and the beast race were almost completely wiped out, so it could not be them. Then, only Qin Feiyang and his group were left. Boom! It was also at this moment that a terrifying aura erupted from two other directions. Dongping shuddered and hurriedly turned his head to look. He saw Qin Feiyang, the madman, and the white-eyed wolf in a triangular formation, surrounding him in the middle. The madman's face was also full of playfulness. Finally, he had played enough and could send this person to hell. Dongping's eyes were gloomy. Your brain is much slower than we thought. Apart from us, in the 4 continents, who would dare to provoke you, a peerless genius of the Central Dynasty? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. When Dongping heard this, his body and mind trembled. In the next instant, he activated the undying domain without reservation. The 7 ultimate profundities of the law charged toward the white-eyed wolf, ready to break out. You actually think I'm the breakthrough point? Who are you looking down on? The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows. Boom! The battle soul heaven-swallowing beast appeared. Swallow. The 4th ability was activated. Dongping's 7 ultimate profundities immediately flew toward the battle soul's wide mouth. Even the undying runes in Dongping's domain broke out uncontrollably and flew toward the wide mouth. This scene. Not only Dongping, but even Qin Feiyang and the madman were dumbfounded. They remembered that when the white-eyed wolf fought with Dong Xian, it could swallow Dong Xian's domain of the gods. And now, it could swallow Dongping's undying domain. Could it be that the white-eyed wolf's 4th ability could restrain the 5 domains? Tell me, aren't you just asking to be humiliated? The white-eyed wolf looked at him with disdain. This is impossible. Dongping roared. Qin Feiyang and the madman looked at each other. The ultimate profundities of the law of life and death, the all-evil sword, appeared and exuded a world-destroying aura as it charged toward Dongping. I have the undying domain. No one can kill me. Dongping roared. But before his voice died away, the undying runes in the domain all rose into the air and were swallowed by the white-eyed wolf's battle soul. Kacha. It was also at this moment that the undying domain collapsed. Dongping was terrified as he roared, "Don't, boom!" The all-evil sword and the ultimate profundities of the law of life and death arrived. The all-evil sword was a super-killing technique. The ultimate profundities of the law of life and death could also be considered a super-killing technique. Without the undying domain, what suspense was there for Dongping to face 2 super-killing techniques? With a miserable scream, blood splattered across the sky as his soul was destroyed. That's it? The white-eyed wolf chuckled, his eyebrows filled with disdain. Qin Feiyang and the madman looked at each other and scanned the void. After waiting for a while and confirming that Dongping wasn't reborn, they let out a long breath. They had finally gotten rid of a huge problem. If this Dongping didn't die, with the strength of the undying domain, he would definitely bring them a lot of trouble in the future. Immediately after, the 2 restrained their aura and looked at the white-eyed wolf. The more they looked at this guy's battle soul, the more terrifying it was. The white-eyed wolf had already retracted his battle soul and was scanning the void as if he was looking for something. What are you looking for? The madman looked at him suspiciously. I'm looking for Dongping's keepsake. It's all your fault for being so heavy-handed. Didn't you say that you would give his head to Dong Tianqian and the others as a meeting gift? Now that his soul has been destroyed, what can you give to them? The white-eyed wolf stared at the 2 of them with dissatisfaction. The 2 of them were stunned. When they were teasing Dongping before, they were too excited and forgot about this matter. So I'm looking now to see if I can find any keepsake related to Dongping. You guys really can't do anything right. The white-eyed wolf complained non-stop. The 2 of them were helpless. How could he say that they couldn't do anything right? Wasn't it just a head? It didn't matter if they gave it away or not. It wasn't that important. Sigh. The white-eyed wolf let out a long sigh, his face full of disappointment. He didn't find anything and was ready to watch a good show, but the most important thing was gone. All right. The mad scientist rolled his eyes and said, anyway, Dong Ping's death will be exposed sooner or later. At that time, we can still see their expressions. The white-eyed wolf glared at the mad scientist and could only give up. But suddenly, the white-eyed wolf frowned and looked at the two of them and asked, do you think that Dong Ping left his divine soul in the Central Dynasty in advance to save his life? Huh? Qin Feiyang and the mad scientist looked at each other. They really hadn't considered this question. It shouldn't be. With their arrogance, they must be like us and disdain to do such a thing. The mad scientist came back to his senses and frowned. Not necessarily. The white-eyed wolf shook his head and looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, should we ask the inner demons and big cousin? They're not familiar with the 5 unparalleled geniuses, so they definitely don't know. Qin Feiyang said. Then they'll meet sooner or later. We'll know when we ask them. The white-eyed wolf said. Qin Feiyang thought about it and felt that it made sense, so he led the white-eyed wolf and the mad scientist into the black tortoise world. Fire Lotus stood in the tea garden and looked at the three of them unhappily. Next time, don't come to me for this kind of thing. Isn't this a good thing? The white-eyed wolf asked. A good thing? Fire Lotus was about to leave, but when she heard this, she immediately glared at the white-eyed wolf. What kind of good thing was this? This can prove your charm. If it's not a good thing, then what is? The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Fire Lotus's face darkened when she heard this. Wasn't her charm obvious to everyone? Did she need to use this method to prove it? Seeing Fire Lotus's expression, the white-eyed wolf carefully said, Hey, a gentleman uses his mouth, not his fists. No matter what kind of woman she was, as long as she was angry, she was scarier than a tigress. Fire Lotus rolled her eyes and turned to walk back to the courtyard. She took out a sound transmission stone and said without turning her head, I sent you a video, no need to thank me. Huh? The three of them were stunned. The next moment, their sound transmission stones vibrated one after another. They took it out and looked at it suspiciously. The white-eyed wolf's expression suddenly became excited and he shouted, Little Lotus, you're the cutest. Fire Lotus's cheeks immediately turned red when she heard this. Why was the white-eyed wolf so happy? That was because this video was the scene of them killing Dong Ping. With this video, what was the use of killing people? This was the best gift for Dong Hanzong and the others. Send me out quickly. The white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang as if he had been injected with chicken blood. Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly. What an impatient guy. Then, he sent the white-eyed wolf out. Do we still need to send a message to the inner demons? Lunatic asked. Just in case, let's send a message to them. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and said with a smile. Chapter 42-41. Buzz. After a short while. As the voice transmission stone awakened, Lu Jiajin and the inner demon's phantoms appeared. When they saw where the two of them were, Qin Feiyang and the madman couldn't help but be stunned. The place where the two of them were at was a place with green mountains and clear waters, surrounded by clouds and mist. It was like a fairyland. Where are you guys? The madman looked at the two of them suspiciously. Sightseeing. Lu Jiajin smiled slightly. What? The madman was stunned. They were still in the mood for sightseeing? They thought that the two of them should have gone to meet up with Dong Hanzong and the others. But they didn't expect them to be so leisurely as to go sightseeing. What else do you think? Lu Jiajin asked. Qin Feiyang and the madman looked at each other and couldn't help but shake their heads and smile bitterly. Qin Feiyang asked, then when are you guys going to find Dong Hanzong and the others? No hurry. Lu Jiajin waved his hand. All right. There are two main reasons why I'm sending you this message. The first thing is that Dong Ping has been killed by us. The second thing is that we want you guys to help us find out if Dong Ping left his divine soul in the Central Dynasty in advance to save his life. Qin Feiyang said. What? You guys have already killed Dong Ping? The inner demons and Lu Jiajin looked at each other. This action was too fast, and there wasn't even the slightest sound. Yes. Just before. Qin Feiyang nodded. Not bad. In the blink of an eye, a huge problem has been eliminated. The inner demons laughed. Of course. What we care about is efficiency. The madman smiled proudly. The inner demon rolled her eyes. Can't you keep a low profile? You want to soar to the heavens with just a few words of praise? Lu Jiajin pondered for a while and looked at Qin Feiyang and the madman. Logically speaking, a genius like Dong Ping should disdain to do such a thing, but just in case, it's necessary to confirm it. Yes, we think so too. Qin Feiyang nodded. The inner demons said, all right. Let's play for another year or so, and then we'll meet up with Dong Hanzong and the others. You still want to play for another year and a half? Madman was stunned. Can't I? The inner demons frowned. No, is this the time to go sightseeing? Madman was speechless. In order to deal with the Central Dynasty, they had been so busy that they were in a terrible fix, but these two acted as if it had nothing to do with them. Can you be more reliable? The inner demon's face darkened. Kid, don't be ungrateful. We're doing this for your own good. For our own good? Madman was stunned. They really couldn't tell how he was doing this for their own good. Of course. You've all personally experienced the strength of Dong Ping and the others. Every single one of you possesses heaven-defying strength. If old Lu and I are added to the mix, have you ever thought about what kind of situation all of you would be in at that time? The inner demons asked. Madman fell silent. Now that he thought about it, it did make sense. Dong Hanzong's group, the God race, the human race, and the purple gold divine dragon race were already enough to deal with them. If the inner demons and Lu Jiajin were added to the mix, their situation would be even more dangerous. Because as long as the inner demons and Lu Jiajin wanted to continue hiding in the Central Dynasty, they would have to attack them after meeting up with Dong Hanzong and the others. You can't deny it now, right? We're doing this for your own good. The inner demons laughed. The corner of Madman's mouth twitched. For a moment, he couldn't find a reason to refute. But you can't delay for too long. After all, our battle with Dong Ping and the others has already caused a lot of commotion. If you don't appear in front of Dong Hanzong and the others, they will definitely suspect you. Qin Feiyang said. You don't need to remind us of this. We know what to do. The inner demons waved his hand. All right. Qin Feiyang nodded. As long as they knew what to do. Outside. At this moment, there was an uproar. It can't be. The person in this video seems to be that genius from the Central Dynasty. He was actually surrounded and killed. Who are the three people that surrounded and killed him? Because Qin Feiyang, Madman, and White-Eyed Wolf had all changed their appearances, many people couldn't help but feel suspicious when they saw the video that White-Eyed Wolf spread. Wait. Look, that young man has awakened the ultimate meaning of the law of life and death. In today's world, it seems that only Qin Feiyang and someone called Lu Yuntian have comprehended the ultimate meaning of the law of life and death. Lu Yuntian is from the Central Dynasty. It can't be him. So this young man is clearly Qin Feiyang. That's right. It must be Qin Feiyang and the others. Aren't they too fast? How did they kill Dong Ping so quickly? Everyone was shocked. 1 spread to 10, 10 spread to 100, and this video quickly spread across the 4 great continents. The ancestral land of the purple gold divine dragons. Inside a large hall. The king sat at the front. Dong Hanzong, Dong Tianqian, and another woman sat on the lower right. As for Dong Xian, she was in seclusion to reconstruct her body. The divine king, heavenly lord Ji, and the human supremes sat on the lower left. After all, this was the ancestral land of the purple gold divine dragons, so the person sitting on the main seat must be the king. If Dong Hanzong wanted to occupy the main seat, then he would be too ignorant. After all, even if he was an unparalleled genius of the central dynasty, he shouldn't steal the limelight. Dong Hanzong looked at the 3 and said, Qin Feiyang and the others must be eliminated, so I hope that the 3 of you can cooperate with us. That's for sure. The 3 looked at each other and nodded with a smile. There's one more thing. I also hope that the king can persuade the dozen or so old seniors. No matter what, they are still members of the divine kingdom. Now that the divine kingdom is in trouble, I hope that they can do their part. Dong Hanzong said. About this, the king smiled wryly and sighed. I know the personalities of these old men the best. It's useless to force them to do something they don't want to do. I can only say that we'll try our best. Try our best? Dong Tianqian's gaze turned cold. He looked at the monarch and said, they must listen to us because this is the emperor's orders. If they disobey the emperor's orders, I don't need to tell you what will happen to your purple gold divine dragon clan. You should know very well. I know. The king nodded. But there were rays of cold light flashing in his eyes. A few yellow-haired brats actually dared to threaten his purple gold divine dragon clan too. Buzz. Then. Heavenly Lord Ji's divine voice stone rang. A hint of suspicion flashed in his eyes. He took out the divine sound transmission stone and lowered his head to look at it. A hint of joy flashed in his eyes, but on the surface, he looked very shocked. What's wrong? The king looked at him in confusion. When Heavenly Lord Ji was about to speak, the divine voice stones of the divine king and the human supremes also vibrated. The 2 of them were startled and also took out their divine voice stones. This, after checking the content, the 2 of them were also stunned. Dong Hanzong, Dong Tianqian, and the other woman looked at each other and couldn't help but look at the 3 of them suspiciously. What's wrong with the 3 of you? The king was puzzled. Heavenly Lord Ji looked at the divine king and the supremes and asked, is the message you received an image? Yes. The 2 of them nodded. About Dongping? Heavenly Lord Ji asked again. Yes. The 2 of them nodded again. Heavenly Lord Ji's eyes dimmed and he said, we all received this image. It seems to be true. What image? Dong Hanzong and the other 2 frowned. Why was it related to Dongping? Take a look for yourselves. Heavenly Lord Ji waved his hand and a battle image appeared in the air of the main hall. When they saw Dongping, the white-eyed wolf's heaven-swallowing beast, Qin Feiyang's ultimate meaning of the law of life and death, and the lunatic's all-evil sword, the 4 of them suddenly stood up. How did Dongping get surrounded by the 3 of them? At the same time, the king's eyes flickered. He didn't need to continue watching after seeing the first half of the image. Because he knew that Dongping must have died in the hands of Qin Feiyang, the lunatic and the white-eyed wolf. This image must have been deliberately spread by Qin Feiyang and the others. Bastard. I'm going to kill them, kill them. After watching the image, Dong Tianqian was enraged and rushed out of the hall with murderous intent. Stop. Dong Hanzong shouted. Dong Tianqian said angrily, Brother Zong, Dongping has already died in their hands. Why aren't we fighting back? Of course we have to fight back. But we don't even know where they are. How can we fight back? Besides, aren't you falling into their trap if you run out alone? Dong Hanzong said. That's right. It'll be difficult for them to kill us if we stay together. But if we split up and fight alone, it'll be easy for them to kill us with their strength. Maybe they want to use this to make us lose our minds and go after them so that they can defeat us one by one. The woman said. But, Dong Tianqian wanted to say something. I don't want to repeat myself. As for Dong Ping's death, it's my fault. I shouldn't have let him go after Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng alone. Dong Hanzong clenched his fists. The woman frowned and said, speaking of Lu Yuntian and Lu Yunfeng, why haven't they done anything yet? Are they purposely avoiding us? Why are they avoiding us? We're not their enemies. The king interjected. I don't know. We don't know much about those two either. The woman shook her head. You don't know much? Aren't they from the Central Dynasty? The king frowned. Although they're from the Central Dynasty, we've never come into contact with them. We've only heard of their deeds. They're both arrogant and lawless people. The woman said. Dong Tianqian's eyes flashed coldly as he said in a deep voice, then it's all their fault. If it weren't for them, Dong Ping wouldn't have died. Dong Hanzong raised his eyebrows and looked at Dong Tianqian. Do you know that you're in danger now? Because you've lost your mind. Dong Ping is my younger brother. How can I be calm when I see him die in the 4 great continents? Dong Tianqian glared at Dong Hanzong angrily. What? Dong Ping is this person's younger brother? The king, the divine king, the human lord, and heavenly lord Ji looked at each other with shock in their eyes. Chapter 42-42. Dong Hanzong said angrily, it's because Dong Ping is your brother that you should calm down. Dong Tianqian stared at Dong Hanzong. Dong Hanzong also stared back at him. The atmosphere in the hall instantly became heavy to the extreme. All right. Calm down. In this situation, if we fight among ourselves, only Qin Feiyang will be happy. We can't do anything that will make our enemies happy. The woman stood out to mediate. Although Dong Hanzong was publicly known as the first of the 5 unparalleled geniuses, Dong Tianqian was not weak either. The most important thing was, Dong Tianqian's family background was stronger than Dong Hanzong's. Dong Hanzong was born in an ordinary family, and his parents were ordinary people all their lives. Dong Hanzong's status today was entirely due to his own efforts. But no matter how hard he worked, he was just one person. How could he compare with Dong Tianqian's family? So, if they really fought with Dong Tianqian, Dong Hanzong would be the one to suffer in the end. She also had her own selfish motives. She did not want to see Dong Hanzong become a thorn in Dong Tianqian's side, nor did she want to see Dong Hanzong suffer. Humph. Dong Tianqian glanced at the woman, snorted from his nose, and returned to his seat, his eyes flashing with strong murderous intent. Dong Hanzong also retracted his gaze and looked at the monarch and the others. Can you find Qin Feiyang's hiding place as soon as possible? It's hard to say. These people are very cunning, unless they take the initiative to show up. The monarch shook his head. When Dong Tianqian heard this, he immediately became angry and roared, if you can't do anything, what's the use of having you? The monarch and the others raised their eyebrows. Not convinced? Dong Tianqian stared at the 4 with cold eyes. You're a genius of the Central Dynasty, who dares to not be convinced? But don't forget, this is not the Central Dynasty, but the 4 great continents. Here, no one will spoil you. The divine king shouted gloomily. Presumptuous. Dong Tianqian was furious, and a terrifying aura spread out. Dong Hanzong frowned and looked at the woman next to him. Dong Qin, he needs to calm down, send him to rest. All right. Dong Qin nodded. She got up and walked over to Dong Tianqian. She smiled and said, let's go. I'll accompany you to relax. Dong Tianqian looked at Dong Hanzong, then at the monarch and the other 2, and finally at Dong Qin. He stood up with a gloomy face, then turned and left quickly. Dong Qin immediately followed. After the two of them left, Dong Hanzong let out a long sigh and looked at the three people apologetically. I'm sorry. I'm fine. Actually, we can understand his feelings right now. The king waved his hand. Yes. Dong Hanzong nodded and asked, is there really no way to find their hiding place? I really didn't. If they were born in the Divine Kingdom, it would be easy to deal with them. Because there must be a few friends or family members around you that you care about. But they are from the Sky Cloud realm and have no relatives or friends in our Divine Kingdom. Forcing them to show themselves is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. The king sighed. If only we had the omniscient eye as well. The divine king couldn't help but let out a long sigh. Dong Hanzong frowned and suddenly seemed to think of something. He looked at the king and asked, Qin Feiyang seems to be your daughter's descendant? Yes. The king nodded. Then can we make use of this relationship? Dong Hanzong asked. It's useless. Last time, Neptune, dragon god, and Yu Lao asked me to use this relationship to lure Qin Feiyang out, but in the end, Qin Feiyang didn't show up at all. The way I see it, this Qin Feiyang, regardless of whether it is me or our purple gold divine dragon clan, he only possesses hatred. The king shook his head. Why does he hate you so much? Dong Hanzong was puzzled. Because we invaded the Sky Cloud realm twice. And back then, when my daughter and the human emperor fell in love, I tried my best to stop them and even personally attacked the Sky Cloud realm. The beast god of the Sky Cloud realm died in my hands. As far as I know, Qin Feiyang has a very good relationship with the beast god subordinates. Even Qin Feiyang's achievements today have a lot to do with the beast god subordinates. Think about it, if it were you, would you hate me? The most obvious thing is that when I went to the Sky Cloud realm last time, I wanted to see my daughter, but Qin Feiyang didn't allow it. He even sent my daughter to another place to hide. The king sighed. It seems that he really hates you. Dong Hanzong nodded and said, but I heard that the last time he invited you to Qingtian's city, it seems to be to reconcile with you. It's true, but can we betray the Lord Ruler? The patriarch of the nation said solemnly. We all know how loyal you are to the Lord Ruler. But for the sake of the big picture, I still hope that you can sacrifice yourselves. Dong Hanzong's eyes flashed. What do you mean? The king and the other three looked at Dong Hanzong in confusion. Doesn't he want you to betray the divine kingdom? Then you can do as he wishes and betray the divine kingdom. Won't you be able to get close to them this way? Dong Hanzong smiled. What? The four looked at each other. I know that doing this will definitely affect your reputation. But as long as you can get rid of them, it will be worth it. And after that, I will help you prove that this is just a show to deal with them. I believe that when that time comes, not only will the people of the divine kingdom not curse you, they will respect you even more. Dong Hanzong smiled. This, the four hesitated. Sacrifice yourself for the greater good. Isn't this your duty as the leaders of the four continents? Dong Hanzong said. The king gritted his teeth and nodded. Fine, we will listen to you, but you have to promise that you will really help us prove it. Otherwise, when the time comes, even if we have 100 mouths, we won't be able to explain it clearly. Don't worry. Once Qin Feiyang and the others are dead, I will announce it to the public. Dong Hanzong smiled. Good. The four nodded. And in order to make this show real, we have to put on a good show. In other words, we will have to fight among ourselves. Dong Hanzong said. The four looked at each other and said, fine, we will listen to you. You people of the Central Dynasty, don't go too far. A moment later. An angry roar suddenly sounded in the ancestral land of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon Clan. Then, terrifying auras burst out one after another. 5 figures charged into the Star River like lightning. It was the king, the divine king, the sovereign of the human race, Heavenly Lord Ji. What's going on? Why are the king and the others fighting with the people of the Central Dynasty? The members of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan couldn't help but be suspicious when they saw this sudden battle. The Star River. The king and the others were going all out. 3,000 clones, the mark of the god race, the sword of faith, and the power of destruction. For a moment, Dong Hanzong couldn't help but have an illusion that the four really wanted to kill him. But he didn't know. This wasn't his illusion at all. Because the king and the other two really wanted to kill him. Soon. The situation of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan spread across the 4 continents. South Continent. In a certain city. The white-eyed wolf disguised himself as a white-bearded old man and was about to leave smugly to meet up with Qin Feiyang. But suddenly, hearing the news that the king and the others were fighting with Dong Hanzong, he couldn't help but be stunned. What kind of drama was this? Could it be that the king and the others were forced by Dong Hanzong and turned hostile in advance? He immediately hid, took out the divine sound transmission stone, and sent a message to Qin Feiyang and the madman. What? They are fighting? Qin Feiyang and the madman were both surprised. The white-eyed wolf said, "Now, everyone is talking about this. It should be true. What's going on? It doesn't make sense." Qin Feiyang and the madman were puzzled. The king, the divine king, and the supremes of the human race were all very careful people. How could they fall out with Dong Hanzong over such a small matter? There must be something strange about this. "Where are you now?" Qin Feiyang asked. "South Continent." The white-eyed wolf said. Qin Feiyang thought for a moment and said, "Okay, come back first. Let's go to the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan's territory to take a look." "Okay." The white-eyed wolf nodded, put away the divine sound transmission stone, and directly opened a space-time passage to leave. The Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan's territory was located in the hinterland of the North Continent. As far as the eye could see, it was all endless mountains and rivers. Some of the giant peaks were tens of thousands of feet tall and towered into the sky, looking extremely majestic. The mountains were lush with vegetation, rivers and lakes could be seen everywhere, and the rich energy of the crystal veins and soul veins were like clouds. Even if they did not know that this was the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan's territory in advance, as long as they saw this mountain with their own eyes, they could imagine that this was definitely not an ordinary place. That was because the terrain here was extraordinary. If one looked down from the sky, it was like a divine dragon formed by thousands of giant peaks. At this moment, around the mountain, many living beings had already rushed over after hearing the news. There were humans and gods. There were also traces of the beast race and sea race. Without exception, they all looked at the sky and felt the terrifying fluctuations of the battle. Their faces were filled with bewilderment. At the same time, the clansmen of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan also stood in the sky above the clan's territory and discussed animatedly. The king, the clan leader, the divine king, and the supremes of the human race would definitely not fall out with the people of the Central Dynasty for no reason. But why? These 4 giants were not the kind of people who would rebel against their superiors. Swoosh! A figure soared into the sky. It was Ji Yunhai. He looked at the sky and shouted, "All clansmen, listen up, prepare for battle." His voice was like a bell, reverberating in all directions. "Prepare for battle? Sir, the other party is from the Central Dynasty." A few clansmen said in horror. "So what if it's the Central Dynasty? Didn't you hear the king's roar earlier? It must be the people of the Central Dynasty. They used their status to make some excessive requests of the king and clan leader. The Central Dynasty is indeed very strong, but our Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan is not weak either. Moreover, we have a backbone and will never compromise with them." Ji Yunhai roared. "Yes. We will never compromise." These words made all the clansmen of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan's blood boil. This Ji Yunhai has some guts. Outside the mountain. Behind the crowd, an old man with white hair laughed softly. And there were two old men beside him. They were both old and senile. Hearing the white-haired old man's words, they could not help but nod. These three people were Qin Feiyang, Frenzy, and White-Eyed Wolf. Chapter 42-43. Fighting against the Central Dynasty was not something an ordinary person would have the courage to say. But this Ji Yunhai not only dared to say it, but also said it so fearlessly. This showed that he was indeed a very courageous person. But thinking about it, it made sense. Back then, a person who killed his way into the sky cloud realm and slaughtered all the creatures in hell, how could he not be courageous? Whoosh! It was also at this moment. Two figures with murderous intent broke through the air and plunged straight into the galaxy. It was Dong Tianchen and Dong Qin. They were relaxing outside, but when they heard the commotion, they immediately rushed back. And they were extremely angry. No matter what happened after they left, the monarch and the other three dared to attack Dong Hanzong, which was an act of rebellion. Boom! Not long after the two entered the galaxy, a terrifying aura burst out. Below. Ji Yunhai's eyes darkened. He looked down at a mountain peak and shouted, "Did you inform the ancestors?" "Yes. They'll be here soon." On the mountain peak. Ryuko and Ji Shaoi stood side by side. Hearing this, the two nodded, their eyes were filled with anger. Did they think that just because they were from the Central Dynasty, they could do whatever they wanted in the land of the purple gold divine dragons? Boom! Before the two finished their words, a space-time tunnel appeared in the sky. Boss Ji and a group of elders walked out angrily. "Grandfather, they're up there." Ji Yunhai immediately ran to Boss Ji and pointed at the sky. "A few brats, it's not enough for them to humiliate us in the village, and now they came to the land of the purple gold divine dragons to cause trouble. They don't even put us in their eyes." Boss Ji's eyes darkened. He looked at Ji Yunhai and shouted, "Just in case, take your people and evacuate immediately." "Yes." Ji Yunhai replied respectfully. "Let's go." Boss Ji waved his hand, and the 15 elders suddenly burst out with a monstrous aura and charged towards the galaxy. Damn! The 15 ancestors of the purple gold divine dragon clan are alarmed. These elders haven't fought personally for a long time. Many young people even thought that they had fallen. Yeah. Not to mention the younger generation, even I have almost forgotten about them. It's said that when they were young, they were all frightening. Of course. In the previous era, the 10 brothers were known as the Purple Gold Divine Dragon Clan's 10 Great Demons. To be able to be called demons by the common people, one can imagine how cruel and ruthless they are. Everyone was talking about it. The 3,000 avatars were only secondary to the fact that the Purple Gold Divine Dragons were able to reign supreme over the human race and the god race. The main reason was these 15 old men. Every single one of them was an existence worthy of respect. Boom! As the 15 people entered the Milky Way, the battle fluctuations became even more terrifying. Old Qin, it seems like something really bad is going to happen. Madman transmitted. Qin Feiyang scanned the sky, then looked at Ji Yunhai and the others. His face was also filled with doubt. What was going on? How dare you betray the exalted Sovereign Lord? On behalf of the exalted Sovereign Lord, I bestow death upon you. Suddenly, an angry roar came from the Milky Way. What? My lord, Divine King, Jizun, are you betraying our divine kingdom? How is this possible? All these years, their battle with Qin Feiyang and the others is obvious to all. In order to get rid of Qin Feiyang and the others, they have worked so hard. How can they say that they are betraying the divine kingdom? Everyone was surprised. Don't listen to their nonsense. It must be because they wanted the Lord and the others to do something for them, but the Lord and the others didn't agree, so they became angry and deliberately slandered the Lord and the others. Ji Yunhai shouted. That's right. If you want to condemn someone, you can always find a pretext. Relying on the central dynasty behind them, they came to the 4 great continents to behave atrociously. This is too much. Everyone nodded. These people from the central dynasty were simply disgusting. This scene. It was probably something that the Lord, Divine King, Jizun, and Heavenly Lord Ji never expected. They were originally worried that it would affect their reputation. But they didn't expect that after Ji Yunhai's words, Dong Hanzong and the others would arouse everyone's anger. Little Qin Zi, do you want to go up and take a look? The white-eyed wolf thought, and there was a hint of worry between his eyebrows. This, Qin Feiyang was quite hesitant. He had a feeling that this matter wasn't so simple. Although he didn't have much contact with the Lord, the Divine King, and Jizun, he knew a lot about their personalities. They couldn't be so impulsive. Especially when facing these unparalleled geniuses from the central dynasty. Because the person standing behind Dong Hanzong and the others was the lord of the central dynasty. I think it's better to go and take a look. The crazy one said telepathically. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. He glanced at the crowd and said in a low voice, "Follow me." The two were stunned. What did he mean? It's better to be careful in everything. Qin Feiyang said meaningfully. Then, he turned around and left. The crazy one and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other and hurriedly followed. Soon, the 3 of them entered a canyon. Seeing that there was no one around, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and an avatar appeared. An avatar? The 2 were stunned. Qin Feiyang looked at the avatar and said, "Help me check out the situation in the Star River." Okay. The avatar nodded. Although Qin Feiyang had changed his appearance, the avatar didn't. When the avatar streaked across the sky and appeared above the purple-gold divine dragons, it immediately caused a stir. Qin Feiyang. He actually came to join in the fun? Where are the crazy one and the golden wolf king? Why don't I see them? Aren't the 3 of them always inseparable? Everyone murmured. Their eyes were filled with awe. Although Qin Feiyang was the enemy of the divine kingdom, Qin Feiyang's strength and methods had already convinced them. Moreover, now Qin Feiyang's importance in their hearts had already surpassed the Lord and the others. Because this was the truth. If the current Qin Feiyang were to go all out, his strength would far surpass the Lord and the others. At the same time, Ryuko and Ji Shaoi looked at Qin Feiyang's avatar with a hint of killing intent in their eyes. Did you notice the look in Ryuko's eyes? Qin Feiyang and the other 2 came to the back of the crowd, and the crazy one laughed. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang looked at Ryuko and said with a faint smile, "Let him be." In the past, Ryuko was indeed a strong opponent. But now, there was nothing to worry about. Qin Feiyang's avatar brazenly entered the Star River, and no one dared to stop it. The moment they entered the Milky Way, terrifying shockwaves from the battle rushed toward them. At the same time, Dong Hanzong and the other 2, the Lord and the others also noticed the avatar. But they didn't recognize it as the avatar and thought it was Qin Feiyang himself. He really came? The corner of Dong Hanzong's mouth lifted. Damn. He came too fast, we didn't even have time to inform him. The Lord and the other 2 were a little anxious. Originally, they planned to immediately inform Qin Feiyang of Dong Hanzong's plan after this show. But they didn't expect. They came so quickly after hearing the news. It's so lively. The avatar slightly raised the corner of his mouth and looked at Dong Hanzong and the other 2. Aren't you here to deal with me? Why are you fighting with the Lord and the others first? But watching you guys fight each other is indeed quite interesting. Don't worry about me, you guys continue. Why are you still talking nonsense here? Hurry up and leave, this is a scam aimed at you. The Divine King calmly transmitted his voice. Scam. The avatar's heart trembled. At the same time, at the back of the crowd, Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a trace of light. There was indeed a problem. Although the 3,000 avatars had independent consciousness, they were also equivalent to his eyes and ears. As long as the avatars saw and heard, he would know. What's wrong? The white-eyed wolf and the crazy one noticed Qin Feiyang's abnormality and couldn't help but look at him suspiciously. This Dong Hanzong is indeed a little smart. Qin Feiyang whispered. Star River. Dong Hanzong, Dong Qin, and Dong Tianqian looked at each other and left the battlefield at lightning speed. They instantly flew across the sky and landed around the avatar. The avatar glanced at the three of them. After Dong Qin and Dong Tianqian killed their way into the Star River, they already knew about Dong Hanzong's plan. They thought that Qin Feiyang wouldn't be so easily fooled, but they didn't expect him to enter the Star River alone. Wasn't this prey delivered to their doorstep? What's going on? Boss Ji and the other old men were still in the dark. Sigh. The Lord sighed inwardly and told the group of old men about Dong Hanzong's plan. Why didn't you say so earlier? If you said so earlier, we would have thought of a way to inform this kid. Boss Ji said angrily. How would I know? He's coming over now. Moreover, they have always liked to stay in the Black Tortoise world. It's impossible for them to receive the news so quickly. This is just an accident. The Lord smiled bitterly. Then what should we do? The group of old men was worried. Let's wait and see. If Qin Feiyang is in danger, then we will really fall out with the Central Dynasty. A trace of killing intent surged in the Lord's heart. The three old men and the group of old men were worried to death, but the avatar acted as if nothing had happened. He glanced at Dong Hanzong and the other two and asked suspiciously, what's going on? Aren't you guys going to fight? I thought you were smart, but it turns out that you're just a so-so. Even now, you still don't understand? This is a show that we, the monarch, and the others put on to lure you out. Dong Hanzong shook his head and sneered. What? The avatar's face changed. That's right. Everything you see now is just an illusion. I also thought that it would take a lot of effort to lure you out, but I didn't expect it to succeed so easily. It seems that I have overestimated you before. However, this saves us a lot of trouble. Dong Hanzong smiled leisurely, as if he was in control of the entire situation and strategizing. Despicable. The avatar shouted angrily. Despicable? Dong Hanzong was slightly taken aback and said mockingly, shouldn't you say that I'm more skilled? The avatar's eyes darkened, and he turned around to use the moment of time and fled toward the exit. Dong Tianqian stepped at the exit and said ferociously, you still want to leave? You killed my brother, and I want you to pay with your blood. Brother? The avatar frowned. Yes. Dong Ping is my biological brother. After I kill you, I will kill the frenzied one, kill the golden-winged wolf king, kill everyone around you, and let you reunite in the underworld. Dong Tianqian's face was incomparably ferocious, and his voice was filled with a terrifying chill. Chapter 42-44. I see. The avatar muttered. No wonder Dong Tianqian was so worried when he saw that Dong Ping was in danger during the battle at Qingtian City. But then again, one of them had the god-slaying domain and an invincible state, while the other had the undying domain and an undying body. This Dong Tianqian's family was really full of talents. It was no exaggeration to say that the two brothers could create a huge family force. Die. With Brother Zong here, even if you have 3,000 avatars, it's meaningless. Dong Tianqian sneered and activated the god-slaying domain. 7 ultimates appeared out of nowhere and attacked the avatar. Looking at this scene, the king and the others' hearts were in their throats. But the avatar was not nervous at all. He turned to look at Dong Hanzong and sneered. Do you really think you're smart? Do you really think everyone else is a fool? Young man, you're still too young. Dong Hanzong frowned. What was going on? How could he be so calm in the face of encirclement? The avatar could not fight back. As Dong Tianqian's 7 ultimates arrived, the avatar dissipated in the void. The expressions of the group of people instantly turned sluggish. No flesh and blood? This was the avatar? You made us worry for nothing. The divine king was speechless. When the king and the others heard this, they could not help but smile bitterly in their hearts. Sure enough, the eunuchs were more worried than the emperor. Bastard. When he came back to his senses, Dong Tianqian immediately went crazy and roared. Dong Hanzong's face was also very ugly. He had shamelessly said that the other party was not good, but the next second, he was slapped in the face by the other party. Thinking of the words before the avatar disappeared, he felt like a clown. It was extremely ridiculous. Dong Qin's face was also very gloomy. Dong Hanzong's plan could be said to be exquisite, but he did not expect the other party to see through it in the blink of an eye. Previously, he was showing off in front of the avatar, but in the end, they were the clowns. Wait. The avatar is here, then his real body must be nearby. Let's go down. Dong Tianqian suddenly shuddered and hurriedly rushed out of the exit. When Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin heard this, they hurriedly chased after him. The remaining monarchs and the others looked at each other, and there was a subtle smile in their eyes. It seemed that even the 5 peerless geniuses were no match for Qin Feiyang and the others. Now, he could be completely relieved. Immediately after, a group of people also revealed their starry river one after another. At this moment, the purple gold divine dragon clansmen had already retreated and gathered around the mountain. When Dong Tianqian and the other 2 appeared, they immediately cast hateful gazes at them. But at this moment, how could the 3 of them be in the mood to care about them? His divine consciousness rolled out and shrouded the entire area. What are they doing? Everyone was bewildered. Whoosh! Not long after, the monarch and the others appeared. Seeing that the monarch and the others appeared safe and sound, the people of the purple gold divine dragon heaved a sigh of relief. But soon after, a trace of suspicion crept into their minds. Why didn't Qin Feiyang appear? Didn't he also enter the Milky Way? Could it be that he had already died in the hands of Dong Hanzong and the other 2? Using their divine senses, Dong Hanzong and the other 2's faces sank. Suddenly, Dong Qin looked at the back of the crowd in the distance. In her divine sense, there were 3 old men who were opening a space-time channel and preparing to leave. Those who came here were all here to join in the fun, so at this time, it was impossible for anyone to leave. Could it be them? With a look of bewilderment, she activated the momentary time and stepped into the air. At the same time, she shouted, "The 3 of you, stop right there." Dong Hanzong and Dong Tianqian also looked over, including the monarch and the others. In front of the transmission channel, the 3 old men slowly turned around and smiled at Dong Qin. "Are you talking to us?" "Yes, it's you guys." Dong Qin's eyes flickered, and she became more and more suspicious that they were Qin Feiyang and the other 2. Because the 3 of them were too calm, and there was no trace of nervousness. Even in their eyes, there seemed to be a trace of ridicule. "Hey! It seems that you guys are not that stupid. You still know that we are here." Frenzy grinned. "It's really you guys." Killing intent surged in Dong Qin's eyes. Dong Tianqian and Dong Hanzong were the same. They activated instant time and attacked the 3 of them. Who are they? Could it be Qin Feiyang, Madman Mo, and Golden-Winged Wolf King? No. Didn't Qin Feiyang enter the Star River before? We all saw it with our own eyes. Why would they appear behind us now? Everyone looked at each other. What's going on? Remember, no matter how scheming you are, you can't become a hunter because the real hunters will always be us. So, if you don't want to follow in Dongping's footsteps, you guys better hide in the purple gold divine dragon clan. The white-eyed wolf grinned. The three of them entered the spacetime channel without looking back and quickly disappeared from everyone's sight. It's really them. Then who is Qin Feiyang who entered the Star River before? Everyone was stunned. It's a clone. Ryuko raised his eyebrows. Yes, yes, yes. How could we forget that Qin Feiyang has 3,000 clones? This person is really vigilant. Everyone whispered. These people were indeed not lucky to be able to make a name for themselves in the Divine Kingdom. Dong Hanzong and the other two stopped. Their faces were frighteningly gloomy. In a short period of time, they had been humiliated twice. The first time was by Qin Feiyang's clone. The second time was by the madman and the white-eyed wolf. Moreover, it was in front of everyone. For them, it was tantamount to a great humiliation. Big brother, what's going on? Ji Yunhai jumped into the sky and landed in front of the king, asking suspiciously. The king sighed and said, "This is a show we put on to lure Qin Feiyang and the others out, but we never expected them to be so cautious." So it was a show. Ji Yunhai nodded. The others also finally understood. The king, the divine king, and Jizun would never betray the divine kingdom. Acting, Dong Tianxin's face was ferocious. He suddenly turned around and dashed in front of the king, slapping the king. Caught off guard, the king's energy reserve was shattered on the spot. A mouthful of purple gold dragon blood was spat out, and his face was pale. What are you doing? Ji Yunwang, the divine king, the supreme being of the human race, Boss Ji, the group of elders, and the other creatures who were watching all stared at Dong Tianxin in surprise. Even Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin were disdainful. What's wrong with this person? Dong Tianxin grabbed the king's neck while he was seriously injured. He stared at Boss Ji and the others and sneered. Don't move, or I'll kill him. You, the elders were enraged. Humph. Dong Tianxin snorted and looked at the king. The fact that Qin Feiyang came this time means that he is indeed interested in the purple gold divine dragon race, so we might as well make the show real. Don't go too far. The divine king said angrily. You want to make the show real? Isn't that the same as grabbing their fate? Forcing Qin Feiyang and the others to make a move. For the safety of the divine kingdom and for the glory of the Lord, sacrificing you is worth it. Dong Tianxin had completely lost his mind. He shouted, Qin Feiyang, if you don't want the king to die here, if you don't want the purple gold divine dragon race to be wiped out, come back and die right now. However, no one responded. Dong Tianxin, calm down. They've already left. What's the point of doing this? Dong Hanzong came back to his senses and quickly went forward to persuade him. The purple gold divine dragon clan was the strongest existence in the 4 great continents regardless of strength or foundation. Even the emperor of the central dynasty had to give them some face. Otherwise, he wouldn't have left in the village back then. Because he knew that he could only persuade the purple gold divine dragon race. He couldn't use a tough attitude, or it would be counterproductive. But Dong Tianxin was different. He actually wanted to turn the show into reality and gamble with the king's life. If something really happened to the monarch, the entire purple gold divine dragon clan, from top to bottom, would definitely fight them to the death. And the divine king, the sovereign of the human race, had a very good relationship with the king. At that time, not only the purple gold divine dragon race, but also the human race and the god race. Even they couldn't bear the anger of the 3 races. The most important thing was, if something happened to the king, the 3 races might really betray them. Qin Feiyang and the others were already so difficult to deal with. If the 3 races all betrayed them, the central dynasty would definitely be in danger. However, Dong Tianxin couldn't listen to any persuasion. He smiled and said, then spread the news. I don't believe he'll hide in the Black Tortoise realm forever. As long as he hears this news, he'll definitely come. But what if he doesn't come? Dong Qin was anxious. Dong Tianqian smiled and stared at the king. Then I can only apologize to you. It's your honor to sacrifice your life for the divine kingdom. The king was gloomy and didn't say anything. His decision back then was right. The central dynasty, the ruler of the divine kingdom, wasn't worth his life at all. Go and arrange it right away. Do you really want me to kill him? Dong Tianqian looked at Ji Yunhai, the divine king, the sovereign of the human race and boss Ji, and shouted angrily. The old men's faces were dark. Master Jiao waved his hand and said, Heavenly Lord, Yunhai, go and arrange it. His voice was very low. Obviously, he was trying to suppress the anger in his heart. Yes. Heavenly Lord and Ji Yunhai nodded. They looked at Dong Tianqian and scanned the people below and said angrily, What are you waiting for? Go and spread the news. Immediately. The people of the purple gold divine dragon race took out the divine message stone angrily. The news immediately spread across the 4 continents. Old men, let's go and arrange people to help spread the news. The divine king and the sovereign of the human race looked at each other and said to Boss Ji and the others. Thank you. Boss Ji said gratefully. It's okay. We're on the same side. The divine king waved his hand. The words, on the same side, had a deep meaning, but Dong Hanzong and the other 2 didn't understand. Now, Dong Hanzong wasn't in the mood to care about anything else. He tried to persuade Dong Tianqian. Dong Tianqian, listen to me. Don't be impulsive. Shut up. Do you really think you're the boss just because I called you brother's own? I don't need you to interfere with my business. Dong Tianqian smiled. Chapter 42-45. Dong Hanzong clenched his fists. Why was this person so untactful? Dong Qin couldn't stand it anymore and said, Dong Tianqian, don't lose your mind. Brother Zong is doing this for your own good. For my own good? Why is my brother outside alone? Isn't it all because of Dong Hanzong? Although Qin Feiyang and the others are the culprits, Dong Hanzong is also their accomplice. As for you, aren't you being selfish by speaking up for him? Do you think we don't know that you've always had a crush on him? Dong Tianqian sneered. What nonsense are you talking about? Dong Qin's face turned red. You know whether I'm talking nonsense or not. Dong Tianqian snorted. Are you really going to continue like this? Do you know the consequences of killing the king? Dong Hanzong gradually lost his patience. What consequences? Nothing more than forcing the purple gold divine dragon clan to betray us. So what if they betray us? With the strength of the central dynasty, even if we don't send out the death god army, we can still wipe them out in minutes. Dong Tianqian said disdainfully. Hearing this, Dong Hanzong fell silent and stopped trying to persuade him. Do whatever you want. Anyway, I've already tried to persuade him. When the king blames us, he won't blame me. Thousand Phoenix Mountain. Qin Feiyang and the other 2 stood at the top of the mountain and looked at the endless mountains with smiles on their faces. This time, it was too satisfying. It was even more satisfying than killing Dong Ping. Because this time, they had given Dong Hanzong a few hard slaps. It could be considered as getting back some interest for Boss Ji and the others. To be honest, I didn't expect Dong Hanzong to be so smart. He actually thought of scheming against us. The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. To be called one of the 5 unparalleled geniuses of the central dynasty, who doesn't have a brain. But in comparison, Dong Hanzong is better than Dong Ping and the others. The madman laughed. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said with a faint smile, I won't deny that they're very difficult to deal with, but it's not difficult to deal with them. From the looks of it, you already have a second target in mind to eliminate? The white-eyed wolf and the madman looked at each other curiously. Yes. Dong Tianqian. Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. Dong Tianqian? You want to eliminate him? It can't be that easy. After all, he has the god-slaying domain and is in an invincible state. Madman frowned. I don't think the invincible state is truly invincible. Back in Qingtian City, when we left, he did not take on the ultimate meaning of the 3,000 incarnations. This means that he was still very wary of it. In other words, even his invincible state has its limits. A little more. Dong Ping is actually his younger brother. This is something I never expected. His own brother died in our hands. Do you think he wouldn't go crazy? Once a person goes crazy, they will naturally lose their rationality. Isn't it easy to kill such a person? Qin Feiyang smiled. That makes sense. The two of them nodded. The white-eyed wolf added, also, judging from Dong Tianqian's behavior, it is very likely that Dong Ping did not leave his soul in the central dynasty to protect himself. Otherwise, he would not be so angry. Yes. But just to be safe, we still have to let the inner demons and big cousin investigate. Before the results of the investigation are out, we can't be careless. Qin Feiyang reminded. Although the sea race and beast race had been eradicated, the central dynasty's participation had made the current situation even more serious than before. Therefore, they could not afford to make any mistakes. Otherwise, they would be crushed. Then do you have a detailed plan? Madman asked. How can it be so fast? I'm not a god. What can I think of? This is just a preliminary idea. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled bitterly. Let's go back to the Black Tortoise world. The situation is getting more and more tense. We have to master other ultimate meanings as soon as possible. An additional ultimate meaning was equivalent to an additional layer of protection. Just like now. Without the 3,000 incarnations, the Eye of Heaven, the all-evil true body, and the heaven-devouring battle soul, Qin Feiyang and the other two had no chance of winning against Dong Hanzong and the others. Because first of all, the number of ultimate meanings that the other party had already suppressed them. Schwa. However, at this moment, two figures descended in the sky. The three were slightly taken aback. They looked up. It was actually the Divine King and the human race's supreme. You guys are indeed here. The Divine King scanned the surroundings. Seeing that there were no living beings around, he landed on the mountain peak and smiled. How did you know we were here? Madman was stunned. The Divine King said, I saw that you guys usually teleported to the 1,000 Phoenix Mountain before, so I came to try my luck. Because the Divine Sound Transmission Stone was destroyed in the Void Land and the contract bridge had not been rebuilt, they could not directly contact Qin Feiyang and the other two. Then why are you guys in such a hurry to find us? Are you praising us? That's not necessary. It's just a small matter. The white-eyed wolf chuckled. Look at how cocky you are. The Divine King's face darkened. The human race's supreme beside him, who was a man of few words, could not help but roll his eyes. Be serious. Since the two seniors came to find us, there must be something important to discuss. Qin Feiyang glared at the white-eyed wolf, then looked at the Divine King and Madman. If you have something to say, just say it. This was because he noticed a trace of anger and worry between their brows. Hearing Qin Feiyang's words, Madman and the white-eyed wolf could not help but look at the two of them seriously. The Divine King said solemnly, after you guys left, Dong Tianqian flew into a rage out of humiliation and actually seriously injured the king. He wants to turn the act into reality. What? The three's expressions changed. If the act turned into reality, wouldn't the king be in danger? How dare they? Aren't they afraid of incurring the wrath of both humans and gods? Madman said angrily. The Divine King said, Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin tried to dissuade him, but it was useless. I think he has completely gone crazy and doesn't want to consider these problems at all. Dong Qin. The three of them were stunned. It's that woman. The Divine King explained. Then what domain does she control? Madman was curious. I don't know. When we were in the Star River, she didn't activate her domain. The Divine King shook his head. After all, it was just an act in the Star River, so there was no need to use it for real. I guess it's also a very powerful ability. The human race's supreme being said. Let's not talk about this first. Madman waved his hand and turned to look at Qin Feiyang. He sneered, just as you thought, this Dong Tianchen is desperate. I don't believe he really dares to kill the king. The white-eyed wolf snorted. Not necessarily. A crazy person can do anything. Moreover, the Central Dynasty's foundation is so strong, Dong Tianchen won't care. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. You guys know about the Central Dynasty's foundation? The Divine King and the human race's supreme being were stunned. Even they did not know about the Central Dynasty's foundation. I know a thing or two. The Central Dynasty has no less than 5,000 experts with the will of heaven's path on the surface, not to mention the Death God army hidden in the dark. Qin Feiyang nodded. So many? Both of them were dumbfounded. Thinking about the human race and the God race, even including them, there were only a few dozen experts. This disparity wasn't just a little too big. Are you sure? The human race's supreme being came back to his senses and asked. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. That's strange. You guys haven't been to the Central Dynasty, so how do you know about this? Both of them were puzzled. We have people in the Central Dynasty. The white-eyed wolf smiled mysteriously. No way. Both of them looked at each other. Placing spies in the Central Dynasty? How was that possible? For their safety, we will keep it a secret for now. You will know in the future. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he lowered his head and pondered. Dong Tianchen's actions were somewhat beyond his expectations. He thought that even if Dong Tianchen was desperate, he would at most be disrespectful to the king and the others. But he never expected that he would attack the king in public. This made the situation a little complicated. Now the news has spread. If you guys don't go to the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan, he will attack the king. But if you guys go, you will be walking into a trap. You must think twice. The Divine King was worried. Dong Tianchen's actions were also beyond her and the human race's supreme being's expectations. The human race's supreme being pondered for a while, and murderous intent flashed in his eyes. If Dong Tianchen really dares to attack, then the three races will officially declare war on the Central Dynasty. The Divine King looked at the human race's supreme being in shock. There were no less than 5,000 experts of the will of heaven on the surface, and he still dared to declare war? Wasn't he courting death? Qin Feiyang couldn't help but look at the human race's supreme being and shake his head. Senior, you must not be rash. Why? The human race's supreme being frowned. First of all, we haven't completely figured out the Central Dynasty's foundation. Especially the Emperor's army of death. Secondly, we don't have enough strength to go against the Central Dynasty. No matter what, we must at least wait until all 6,000 of my secret guards have grasped the will of heaven before we can act. And we can still barely do it. Qin Feiyang said. Then how long will it take for them to grasp the will of heaven? The human race's supreme being asked. It's hard to say. Although the Black Tortoise realm has a time array, comprehending the laws depends on one's talent, and there will definitely be a gap in time. But don't worry, they have all opened the gate of potential, and they also have the ultimate inheritance of the strongest laws. I believe it won't be long. Qin Feiyang said. That's still not enough. After all, you just said that the Emperor has a mysterious army of death. The Divine King frowned. Definitely not. That's why we have to nurture even more experts. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. But the goal of cultivation was a problem. Now, everyone in the Devil's Land had obtained the ultimate will of heaven they needed, but there were only 6,000 people in total. Should he go to the Black Tortoise Realm's central continent and the 4 great domains to look for targets to cultivate? However, the living beings of the Central Oblast and the 4 major regions were still too weak, their foundations too thin. Not to mention anything else, just the Black Tortoise World's sovereign realm living beings, other than Li Er and Wan San, there were only a few of them. The first condition to fuse with the inheritance was to reach the sovereign realm. Other than the Black Tortoise Realm, where else could he go to find targets to cultivate? Chapter 42-46. Cough, cough. Seeing Qin Feiyang's clueless look, the human race's supreme being and the divine king coughed dryly, as if reminding him of something. Qin Feiyang and the other 2 looked at the 2 suspiciously. You too, is there something wrong with your throat? The white-eyed wolf asked. The 2 blushed. The air here is quite good. The white-eyed wolf looked around with a puzzled look. The divine king said angrily, You brat, are you making fun of us? I don't believe that you don't understand our hint. Hint? The white-eyed wolf was slightly taken aback and asked innocently, What are you hinting at? The divine king's face darkened. Hee hee. The white-eyed wolf grinned. How could he not know what the 2 were hinting at? He just wanted to take the opportunity to tease the 2. What? You still don't trust us? The divine king looked at the 3 with displeasure. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly and shook his head. It's not that I don't trust you, but I don't trust your subordinates. After all, with so many ultimate mysteries appearing at once, it will definitely cause quite a stir. He also thought about the god race, the human race, and the purple-gold divine dragon race. However, he was really worried. After all, not everyone in the 3 major races was as sensible and patient as the king, the divine king, and the supreme being. For example, if people like Ryuko, Ji Shaoi, and Wang Feng were to obtain the inheritance of several ultimate mysteries at once, wouldn't they immediately become complacent? If it was accidentally leaked, the 3 major races would definitely be in trouble. That's true. The divine king pondered for a while and nodded. Of course. If you can absolutely control these people, I can also give them to you. For example, a blood oath. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and looked at the 2 with a smile. That's simple. The divine king's eyes lit up and said with a smile, We will first let them make a blood oath to keep their mouths shut, and then give them the inheritance of the ultimate mysteries and the pill of the gate of potential. Are you sure it's foolproof? Qin Feiyang asked. Kid, you're too arrogant, such a small matter and you still doubt us? The divine king's face darkened. The corner of the mouth of the human race twitched slightly. In any case, he was considered an overlord of a region, yet he was actually looked down upon by a little brat. Ha, Qin Feiyang laughed. Old Qin, isn't this decision of yours a little rash? We don't know what the future will be like. It's very risky to nurture people from the 3 major races. Madman transmitted his voice. But now, they've already taken the initiative to ask. If we still don't give it to them, wouldn't that make us seem insincere? Wouldn't that be petty? In short. 1 sentence. Don't use those who don't suspicious Dawn, since we've already formed an alliance. It's best to treat each other with sincerity, so as to avoid estrangement between us and affect the overall situation in the future. Qin Feiyang secretly smiled and sent a message to the Fire Lotus in the Black Tortoise world. Girl, help me prepare 3,000 ultimate mysteries of the ultimate laws. The so-called 3,000 portions were actually 18,000 ultimate profundity inheritances of supreme laws. One would have 6 different inheritances. 3,000 would be able to create 3,000 powerhouses with the will of the heavenly Tao. Of course. For the human race, the god race, and the purple-gold divine dragon race, 3,000 inheritances were far from enough to create 3,000 powerhouses with the will of the heavenly Tao. Because in the three major races, many people had already grasped the ultimate mysteries of the ultimate laws. Some had even grasped 4 or 5 ultimate mysteries of the ultimate laws. For these people, they only needed 1 or 2 inheritances to possess the will of the heavenly Tao. So, these 3,000 inheritances, if used properly, could at least create no less than 5,000 powerhouses with the will of the heavenly Tao for the 3 major races. This number was also very shocking. Soon, Fire Lotus gave Qin Feiyang 3 interspatial rings. Qin Feiyang handed 2 of the interspatial rings to the Divine King and the human race's supreme being, smiling. I don't have any selfish motives. The 3 major races each have 1,000 inheritances. I hope you don't think it's too little. Too little? The 2 happily took the interspatial rings and checked them. 1,000 inheritances, this was something they didn't even dare to think about in the past. How could they think it was too little? Although 1,000 inheritances were nothing to Qin Feiyang now, to the 3 major races, it was a great treasure. As long as these inheritances were arranged properly, the overall strength of the 3 major forces would instantly undergo a leap in an instant. Thank you. But we also prepared a surprise for you. The Divine King put away the interspatial rings and said with a smile. A surprise? Qin Feiyang and the other 2 were stunned. The Divine King said, let's go to the Black Tortoise world, lest we make too much noise and attract the attention of the nearby ferocious beasts. Okay. Qin Feiyang nodded and put away the remaining interspatial ring. These 1,000 inheritances must be handed over to the monarch personally. It wasn't that he didn't trust the Divine King and the human race's supreme being. After all, in the current situation, danger was everywhere. What if something unexpected happened? Swish! The 5 of them entered the Black Tortoise world. Qin Feiyang and the other 2 immediately looked at the Divine King and Supreme Being expectantly. Although you have destroyed the Sea Clan and the Beast Clan and obtained a lot, I think the more of these things, the better. The Divine King and Supreme Being looked at each other and smiled. With a wave of their hands, the sky above the Devil's Land suddenly appeared one after another. It was densely packed and countless. In the end, the sky above the Devil's Land couldn't even hold it. This, Qin Feiyang and the other 2 were dumbfounded on the spot. Swish! It was also at this moment. Little Brat appeared and looked at the sky full of spirit veins and crystal veins with an extremely excited expression. Haha, the 2 of you, I'm sorry to have made you send so many spirit veins and crystal veins. He looked at the Divine King and Supreme Being of the human race and laughed. Although he said so, there was no expression of embarrassment on his face at all. It was as if he couldn't wait to transfer all the spirit veins and crystal veins of the 3 major clans to the Black Tortoise realm. The Divine King and Supreme Being looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh. The 2 of you, this, Qin Feiyang came back to his senses and looked at the 2 of them in surprise. Last time, the monarch talked to us. In order to deal with the Divine Kingdom's sovereign, we must rely on the origin energy of the Black Tortoise realm. Therefore, after a little discussion, we decided to give you some more spirit veins and crystal veins. Now, there are a total of 300 million spirit veins and crystal veins here. Our 3 major clans have 100 million each. The Divine King explained. So that's how it is. Qin Feiyang and the other 2 suddenly understood and were touched. Last time, the monarch and the other 2 had each given them 50 million. This time, it was even more. Each of them had 100 million spirit veins. Adding up the 2 times, they had a total of 450 million spirit veins. One had to know. They had robbed the beast race and the sea race and had only obtained a total of 280 million spirit veins. Although a lot of the resources of the sea race and the beast race had been destroyed in the battle, judging from this number, the 3 major clans had given almost half of the resources to them. This was not just trust, but also unconditional support. The monarch had originally planned to deliver the spirit veins and crystal veins to you personally, but because Dong Hanzong and the others stayed in the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan's territory and refused to leave, he was afraid that there would be an accident, so he asked Heavenly Lord Ji to secretly come to us and ask us to deliver them to you. Supreme Being of the human race smiled. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and calmed down. He cupped his hands and said, "Thank you for your kindness." "Thank you. I, Qin Feiyang, will remember this forever. As long as you remember. I'm just afraid that you are White-Eyed Wolf." The Divine King said jokingly. "Why are you scolding me? I didn't provoke you." The White-Eyed Wolf was dissatisfied. "If I say White-Eyed Wolf, must I be talking about you? Or are you really a heartless White-Eyed Wolf?" The Divine King looked at him mockingly. The White-Eyed Wolf was speechless for a moment. Wasn't this a direct response? Stupid. All right. We can't stay for too long. We still have to go to the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan. You guys should also quickly discuss how to solve the current problem," the Divine King said. Qin Feiyang and the other two nodded. Then, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent the two of them out of the Black Tortoise realm. Little Wimp looked at the three of them and said in a very serious manner, "You little brats, you must know how to be grateful." The attitude of the monarch and the others towards us can be said to be heartfelt. "Don't you trust me?" Qin Feiyang was helpless. "Of course I trust you. But I think some people are a little uncertain." Little Brat looked at the frenzy and the White-Eyed Wolf with disdain. Then, he didn't say anything else and personally left with the 300 million spirit veins and crystal veins. With these spirit veins and crystal veins, the Black Tortoise realm would grow rapidly in the future. Catching up to the Divine King was just around the corner. After Qin Feiyang sent Little Brat away, he looked at the frenzy and the White-Eyed Wolf and joked, "I'm talking about you guys." The two of them smiled embarrassedly. When Qin Feiyang gave the three races the inheritance, they were a little unhappy. But in the blink of an eye, the three races gave them 300 million spirit veins and crystal veins. When compared, they felt that they were too tasteless. Fortunately, they had sent a message to Qin Feiyang and didn't let the Divine King and Jizun hear it. Otherwise, they would have lost a lot of face. Of course, they couldn't be blamed for this. After all, they had experienced too many schemes along the way. So, no matter who they faced, they always maintained a vigilant heart. If it weren't for this vigilant personality, they wouldn't have been able to reach where they were today. Qin Feiyang's expression gradually became serious. He asked, then, "What do you think about the king's current situation?" "I want to hear the truth." "Truth?" The White-Eyed Wolf narrowed his eyes and said with killing intent, "The truth is that we must save him, and Dong Tianqian must die. Of course we must save him. But this time, we will definitely fall into a life and death crisis. Unless the three races directly turn against the central dynasty." The frenzy frowned. Dong Tianqian's disturbance was equivalent to messing up their plan. "Even if there's a slim chance of survival, we have to go. But, I'm still thinking about another problem. If we make a move this time, the central dynasty will know that we do have feelings for the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan." Qin Feiyang also frowned. "Yes. That's the biggest problem. If we make a move this time, the central dynasty will definitely become more aggressive in the future. In the end, they might even use the fate of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan to threaten us." The frenzy nodded worriedly. This matter couldn't be rash. If it wasn't handled well, it would attract more trouble in the future. "How about this?" The White-Eyed Wolf's eyes lit up. "How about we have the inner demons and big cousin make a move?" Hearing this, the two looked suspiciously at the White-Eyed Wolf. Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin don't dare to touch Dong Tianqian, but the inner demons and big cousin are different. Moreover, they aren't any weaker than Dong Tianqian. The White-Eyed Wolf cackled. "Why? The frenzy asked. Simple. The king is the ruler of the divine kingdom. His identity and status are obvious to all. If we kill him, it will affect the situation of the divine kingdom. So when the time comes, the inner demons and big cousin can use this to force Dong Tianxin to release Dong Tianxin without exposing their identities. The white-eyed wolf cackled. Qin Feiyang and the frenzy looked at each other. This was a good idea. What do you think? Are you impressed by your big brother? Are you admiring your big brother so much that you want to hug your big brother's leg and call him your big brother? The white-eyed wolf looked at the two proudly. Who told you that your big brother didn't know how to use his brain? If your big brother was willing to use his brain, then you wouldn't have a problem. Qin Feiyang and the frenzy's lips twitched. Keep showing off. Chapter 42-47. In the blink of an eye. 3 days passed. The land of the purple gold dragons. Dong Tianxin had been standing in the sky, waiting for Qin Feiyang and the other two to appear. The king stood aside silently. His sea of qi hadn't been repaired. Dong Tianxin wouldn't give him a chance to do so either. The divine king, the lord of the human race, had led the supremacies here after leaving the Xian Wu realm. Apparently, he was prepared for any accidents. Heavenly Lord Ji Yunhai, Boss Ji, and the other elders were also there. Their faces were extremely pale. Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin also didn't leave. More and more people came to see what was going on. It wasn't a small matter if someone from the central dynasty wanted to kill the king. Most people were angry at Dong Tianxin. Because the king had been in office for many years and had contributed a lot to the 4 continents. He was someone worthy of respect. It wasn't an exaggeration. If anything happened to the king, most creatures in the 4 continents, except for the beasts and the mermen, would stand on his side. Swish. Suddenly, a supremacy of the purple gold divine dragons came and whispered something in Heavenly Lord Ji's ear. What did you say? Don't be sneaky. Say it in front of everyone. Dong Tianxin immediately looked at Heavenly Lord Ji. Heavenly Lord Ji's eyes flashed coldly and he said, We've already spread the news, but it's not up to us to decide whether Qin Feiyang will come or not. If they don't come, you'll have to collect the king's body. Dong Tianxin snickered. You, Heavenly Lord Ji, was furious. Who was to blame for Dong Pingji's death? It was his own fault. How could he have anything to do with his father? Heavenly Lord. Don't talk nonsense with him. If he really dares to kill your father, the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan will mobilize the entire clan to attack the central dynasty and demand justice from the emperor. Boss Ji said. You want to go to the central dynasty? You're dreaming. Dong Tianxin said with disdain. Then let's try. Boss Ji's aura was strong and fearless. How lively. Then, accompanied by a faint laugh, 2 figures stepped through the air and arrived. The 2 of them were indeed Lu Jiajin and the inner demons. The inner demons were dressed in blood-red clothes. Their blood-red hair fluttered in the wind. They still wore a mask on their faces. Lu Jiajin, on the other hand, was dressed in a long white robe. His temperament was ethereal and otherworldly, as if he was a banished immortal. It's them. The pupils of the divine king and the others contracted. They were no strangers to the inner demons and Lu Jiajin. Even though he wasn't listed as one of the top 5 geniuses of the central dynasty, his methods were obvious to all. Last time on the mythical island, this Lu Yuntian had almost killed the monarch. Not good. Once those 2 brothers arrive, our situation will become even worse. The Supreme Master of the human race transmitted his voice. Yes. The Divine King nodded worriedly. This was because they didn't know the relationship between Lu Jiajin and Qin Feiyang and the others. Therefore, when they saw the 2 of them arrive, they naturally thought that they would take the opportunity to make things difficult for the monarch. You are Lu Yuntian and Ling Yunfei? Dong Hanzong, Dong Qin, and Dong Tianxin couldn't help but look at the inner demons. The inner demons smiled and said, I didn't expect the top geniuses to know us. What an honor. I have heard a lot about you. Dong Hanzong cupped his hands and smiled. The names of the three of you are like thunder to our ears as well. The inner demons smiled and swaggered to Dong Tianxin's side. He looked at the monarch and asked suspiciously, What are you doing? It's none of your business. Dong Tianxin's attitude was cold. He questioned, Why did you only come to us now? Don't you know that we are already in the 4 continents? Are you interrogating me? The inner demons tilted his head and looked at Dong Tianxin. You can think of it that way. Dong Tianxin was very proud and arrogant. He didn't take the inner demons seriously at all. The inner demons couldn't help but laugh. Shut up. I'm asking you a question. Dong Tianxin flew into a rage. Slap. However, the only response he got was a resounding slap on his face. The inner demons directly raised his hand and slapped Dong Tianxin's face. In an instant. Not only Dong Tianxin, everyone was dumbfounded. Including Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin. This person's guts were too big, wasn't he? Dong Tianxin was one of the top 5 geniuses. How dare he teach Dong Tianxin a lesson? And in front of everyone, he didn't give Dong Tianxin any face at all. At the scene, it fell into a dead silence. Even the monarch, the divine king, the supremacy of the human race, Heavenly Lord Ji, Boss Ji, and the group of elders never thought that such a scene would happen. They weren't here to support Dong Tianxin. They were here to humiliate him. You are courting death. The next moment, Dong Tianxin came to his senses and was furious. I dare you to say that again. The inner demon's eyes were full of bloody light and they gradually became violent. Even Dong Tianxin couldn't help but feel scared when he saw the inner demon's eyes at this moment. It was as if he saw a peerless demon king awakening. Brother Lu, we're all on the same side. Let's talk nicely. Dong Hanzong's eyes flashed and he stepped forward to mediate. The inner demons glanced at Dong Hanzong and smiled at Dong Tianxin. Don't think that you have the right to order me around just because you're one of the top 5 geniuses. If you piss me off, I'll kill even the top geniuses. Hearing this, Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin couldn't help but frown. Killing without mercy? Did that include them as well? Okay. Let's see how you're going to kill me today. Dong Tianxin was so angry that he laughed. It's easy to kill you. The inner demons curled the corners of his lips and activated his demon king true form. Each of them was more than 10,000 feet tall and they really looked like demon kings who killed people without any hesitation. Brother Lu, why are you doing this? Dong Hanzong hurriedly tried to persuade him. Just because of Dong Tianxin's offensive words, he made a big fuss. Yeah. Dong Tianxin offended you because of the pain of losing his brother. I hope Brother Lu can understand and forgive him. Dong Qin also hurriedly tried to persuade him. If they were in the Central Dynasty, they wouldn't have bothered. But they were in the 4 great continents. They still needed the inner demons and Lu Jiajin to help them deal with Qin Feiyang and the others, so they couldn't afford to offend them. What are you doing? As if this is my fault. If my brother didn't go to them, would this have happened? They can't escape the blame for my brother's death. Dong Tianxin glared at Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin and said angrily. Dong Ping is useless, and you're blaming us? Why don't you blame your parents? They gave birth to Dong Ping. If they didn't give birth to Dong Ping, would this have happened? The inner demons laughed arrogantly. Hearing this, Dong Tianxin clenched his fists and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Enough. We're all on the same side. There's no need to make a scene. Seeing that the atmosphere was getting tense, Lu Jiajin finally spoke. He walked to the side of the inner demons and said to Dong Tianqian, "We're also very sad about Dong Ping's death, but before coming to the Central Dynasty, you should have left your divine souls behind to save your lives, right? Left our divine souls behind to save our lives? Do you think we, the 5 great geniuses, would do something so cowardly? You're humiliating us. Besides, if we really left our divine souls behind to save our lives, would I be so angry?" Dong Tianqian roared. Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin couldn't help but frown. To them, leaving their divine souls behind to save their lives was indeed a humiliation. "I didn't expect you to be so brave. If it were me, I would have left my divine soul behind to save my life in the Central Dynasty." The inner demon sneered. In fact, Lu Jiajin was trying to get information from Dong Hanzong and the others. With this test, he obtained the answer. The 5 of them didn't leave their divine souls in the Central Dynasty, so Dong Ping's death was confirmed. Dong Qin glared at the inner demons and said angrily, "Lu Yuntian, be more polite with your words. We didn't do anything to offend you. You don't like it? Then don't listen." The inner demons smiled disdainfully. "You," Dong Qin glared at him. How could he be such an unreasonable person? The inner demons pointed at the king and asked Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin, "So, what is this Dong Tianqian trying to do now?" "He wants to coerce the king and force Qin Feiyang and the others to show up." Dong Qin suppressed her anger and said in a low voice. "What? Coerce the king?" The inner demons paused for a moment, then turned to Dong Tianqian and laughed. "Not bad, kid. You can even think of such a despicable method. But I like it." "What?" Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin looked at the inner demons in shock. They thought the inner demons would laugh at Dong Tianqian when they heard the inner demons talking about despicable methods, but they didn't expect the inner demons to agree with this method. Dong Tianqian, who had lost his mind, was already a headache for them. Now, there was an even more arrogant Lu Yuntian? Wasn't this adding to their troubles? "Don't mess around." Lu Jiajin frowned and looked at the inner demons angrily. The inner demons pouted. Lu Jiajin looked at Dong Tianqian and sighed. "What you are doing now is very irrational. I advise you to let the king go and apologize to him." "What did you say?" Dong Tianqian stared at Lu Jiajin, wondering if there was something wrong with his ears. Not only did he ask him to let the king go, but he also asked him to apologize to the king. The king, the divine king, Lord Ji, and heavenly Lord Ji also didn't expect Lu Jiajin to say such a thing. They had been worried that the situation would become worse when these two arrived. Just like what the inner demon had said to Dong Tianqian before, it had made them feel as if their hearts were in their throats. But who would have thought that Lu Jiajin's attitude would change? But thinking about it carefully, even though they had only talked to Lu Jiajin a few times and didn't talk much, they could tell that he was indeed a rational man. Do you know what the king represents? It represents the king of the divine kingdom. Although the Central Dynasty doesn't think much of it, the king is the most powerful person in the divine kingdom in terms of prestige and status. If you threaten him now, won't you be angering the beings of the 4 continents and becoming the Central Dynasty's enemy? Will you be able to bear the consequences? Lu Jiajin said. Phew. Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin were relieved to hear this. Finally, there was a reasonable person. Chapter 42-48. Lu Jiajin was the best choice for Dong Hanzong and the Divine God. They didn't have to be the bad guys, and they wouldn't have to offend the forces behind Dong Tianqian. However, Dong Tianqian, on the other hand, did not take it seriously. He said with disdain, "These trash from the 4 great continents, not to mention the Central Dynasty, even my family's strength can suppress them in minutes." What did you say? Who are you calling trash? The Divine King glared at Dong Tianqian. You. Dong Tianqian sneered. Bastard. The divine king looked at the surrounding creatures and said, "Did you hear that? The creatures of the four continents are nothing but trash in the eyes of the central dynasty. We don't even have the least bit of dignity." As soon as these words were spoken, both humans and gods were enraged. All the creatures glared at Dong Tianqian. Oh no! Dong Hanzong's heart skipped a beat. Dong Tianqian was too irrational. How could he say something like that? Wasn't he trying to sow discord between the central dynasty and the four continents? In fact, the divine king was just like that. Since Dong Tianqian dared to say that, he dared to use his words to provoke everyone's anger against the central dynasty. This was also to pave the way for them in the future. After all, they would fall out with the central dynasty sooner or later. By then, if they couldn't find a suitable excuse, the creatures of the four continents might not support them. Instead, they might curse them and call them traitors. In other words, Dong Tianqian's words had instead given them a chance to accomplish their goals. How disappointing. No matter what we do, the four continents are fighting at the front while the central dynasty has been enjoying the fruits of our labor. Now, you look down on us and treat us like trash. As the leader of the human race of the four continents, I've done my best for the divine kingdom and the Lord. But in the end, I've been humiliated like this? The human supremacy sighed. This was from the bottom of his heart. He didn't have much contact with the people of the central dynasty before, so he didn't know the true colors of the central dynasty. But now, Dong Tianqian's words made him feel sad. Since ancient times, how much had the human race contributed to the divine kingdom? However, in his eyes, they didn't even have the qualifications to be human. They could only be considered trash. Now that he thought about it, his choice back then was really wise. If they continued to follow the dominator of the divine kingdom and the central dynasty, it was hard to imagine what kind of situation the human beings in the four continents would face in the future. "Sovereign, divine king, please calm down." He didn't say those words on purpose. Dong Qin hurriedly explained. "Look at his attitude. Does he look like he's joking?" The divine king pointed at Dong Tianqian and angrily said. Dong Qin glared at Dong Tianqian and shouted, "Hurry up and apologize." "Apologize?" Huh, Dong Tianqian laughed wantonly, not taking it seriously at all. What a useless teammate. The inner demons snickered. Indeed. With such a person around, the creatures of the four continents will betray the divine kingdom sooner or later. Lu Jiajin nodded. Of course. This was what they wanted to see. They even hoped that there would be more stupid people like Dong Tianqian. In this way, it would save a lot of trouble for the sovereign, the divine king, and the sovereign of the human race to fall out with the central dynasty in the future. Seeing that the atmosphere was getting worse and worse, Dong Hanzong hurriedly looked at Lu Jiajin for help. Lu Jiajin's eyes flashed. He looked at Dong Tianqian and said in a deep voice, "You must apologize and let them go." "What if I say no?" Dong Tianqian stared at Lu Jiajin. "Then for the peace and the overall situation of the divine kingdom, I can only say that I offended you." As his voice fell, Lu Jiajin's eyes were filled with murderous intent. "Ha, how dare you say such things to me? Do you know how powerful my family is? If you offend me, you must be prepared to die." Dong Tianqian said with a hideous smile. "What did you say? I dare you to say it again." Before his voice died away, a monstrous aura surged toward Dong Tianqian. It was the inner demons. But at this moment, his face was filled with hostility. "I said, you must all be prepared to die." Dong Tianqian did not show any weakness. "You are really courting death." Murderous intent surged in the eyes of the inner demons. Accompanied by a terrifying aura, the 3,000 Demon King real bodies instantly activated all the ultimate mysteries. However, the faces of the 3,000 Demon King real bodies were shrouded in fog and looked blurry. "Don't fight here. Go to the Star River." Lu Jiajin hurriedly shouted. The inner demons looked at Dong Tianxin gloomily and said, "Don't just talk. If you have the guts, come to the Star River and let me see how strong your god-killing domain is." After that, the inner demons stepped into the sky and entered the Star River without looking back. Dong Tianxin stared at the back of the inner demons with a bone-chilling expression and said, "Fine, I will show you the strength of the 5 peerless geniuses of the Central Dynasty." He waved his hand and the sovereign disappeared. Apparently, he had been sent to a space divine object and imprisoned. Seeing this, the clansmen of the purple gold divine dragon were all burning with anger. Star River. The inner demons stood against the wind and looked at the entrance of the Star River. The 3,000 demon king real bodies stood behind him in a neat formation. The ultimate mysteries of the law of life and death, the ultimate mysteries of the 6 strongest laws, exuding an aura of destruction. With the arrival of Dong Tianxin, the inner demons immediately sneered, "Although I am pleased with your despicable nature, but to dare offend my big brother, that is absolutely intolerable." "Huh, do I need you to tolerate it? If you have any means, just come at me." Dong Tianxin laughed wildly. "You have guts." The inner demons laughed. With a wave of his hand, 2 layers of heavens will erupted. This starry sky immediately began to collapse. However, even in the face of 3,000 demon king real bodies, 2 wills of heaven's will, and the ultimate mysteries of the law of life and death, Dong Tianxin did not show the slightest hint of nervousness. Boom! With the eruption of a terrifying aura, a dazzling golden light surged out. The next moment, then, a golden domain appeared. Dong Tianxin stood in the golden domain, bathed in divine light. Many golden runes kept flashing as if a god of war had descended to the world. "Let's see if you're really invincible." The inner demons sneered. Boom! The 21,000 ultimate mysteries above the 3,000 demon king real bodies immediately shattered the starry sky and charged towards Dong Tianxin. Dong Hanzong, Dong Qin, Heavenly Lord Ji, the Divine King, the Supremes of the human race, the Supremacies, Boss Ji, and a group of elders also rushed into the starry sky. Seeing the inner demons' means, their hair stood on end. This person's means were almost on par with Qin Feiyang's means. Qin Feiyang's only advantage was the eye of heaven. However, an even more shocking scene then appeared. The 21,000 ultimate mysteries drowned Dong Tianxin like a torrent of wild beasts. The destructive energy spread in all directions, making the creatures outside the starry sky feel the danger of death. One could imagine just how terrifying was this destructive power. However, Dong Tianxin, who was standing in the golden domain, was unharmed the entire time. That's right. He was completely unharmed. He didn't even break the golden domain. How is that possible? The inner demons were stunned. The ultimate mysteries of the laws of life and death, the 6 ultimate laws, the demon king real bodies and 2 will of heaven couldn't break the domain? Isn't this too outrageous? It was also different from what Qin Feiyang said. Qin Feiyang also mentioned Dong Tianxin's strength when he sent a message to the inner demons and Lu Jiajin, asking them to help rescue the Lord. He also mentioned that Dong Tianxin avoided the battle with the 3,000 incarnations. According to Qin Feiyang, Dong Tianxin wouldn't dare to fight with the 3,000 incarnations in his invincible state. In other words, 3,000 incarnations, the laws of life and death, the ultimate laws and 2 ultimate mysteries. These means together were enough to break the limit of the god-killing domain. However, the scene that he was witnessing right now was completely different from what he had expected. This god-killing domain was absolutely invincible. Is this domain that heaven-defying? Lu Jiajin frowned. Yes. Dong Hanzong nodded. But why did I hear that he didn't face Qin Feiyang's 3,000 incarnations head-on last time? Lu Jiajin was puzzled. Dong Tianxin was deliberately showing weakness to make Qin Feiyang and the others careless so that when they meet again in the future, he could catch them off guard. But I didn't expect that he would use this god-killing domain on his own people. Dong Hanzong sighed, deliberately showing weakness. Lu Jiajin's eyes flickered. When Dong Tianqian was calm, his mind was quite scary. Because if it weren't for the inner demons, they wouldn't know how terrifying the god-killing domain was. When Qin Feiyang and the others fought with this person again, they would definitely suffer a great loss. How is it? Do you feel powerless for a moment? Dong Tianqian sneered. The way he looked at the inner demons was like looking at ants. It's indeed a little strong. But that's it. The inner demons put away their frustration and attacked with all their might. Nothing could be truly invincible. There must be some flaws. Rumble. The Devil King real bodies surrounded and attacked. The power of law, the ultimate meaning, destroyed all directions. But the god-killing domain showed no signs of being broken. The god-killing domain is absolutely invincible. No one can break it. Dong Tianqian smiled proudly and began his counterattack. Boom! He rushed to the front of a Devil King real body. The power of law roared and punched. Accompanied by a loud bang, the Devil King real body collapsed on the spot. Then he charged toward another Devil King real body. With an invincible body, you can kill all the gods in the world. This is the origin of the god-killing domain. As Dong Tianqian's voice fell, another punch shattered another Devil King real body. It was simply killing gods in the way. No one could stop him. Looking at this scene, the inner demons' eyes gradually became solemn. The power of the god-killing domain had far exceeded his imagination. It wasn't an exaggeration to say. Such a situation was enough to make people despair. Because no matter what you do, you can't cause any harm to the other party, but the other party can rely on their invincible body to easily overwhelm you. In other words, this was simply a fate of being beaten. Chapter 42-49. Boom! One by one, the Demon King real bodies collapsed. At this moment, Dong Tianqian was like an invincible god of war, unstoppable. Although the god-slaying realm is terrifying, as long as your brother can hold on for an hour, he can turn the tables. And with your brother's strength, he can easily win. Dong Hanzong said in a low voice. What do you mean? Lu Jiajin looked at him suspiciously. Dong Hanzong said to himself, the 5 realms that we have mastered have a time limit and can only be maintained for an hour. There's such a thing? Lu Jiajin's eyes flashed. This was very important news, which would help them deal with the 4 of them in the future. And we can only activate it once a day. It is precisely because of these restrictions that the 5 realms' ability and lethality are above the 10 most powerful fighting souls. Dong Hanzong said. More powerful than the 10 strongest fighting souls? Lu Jiajin was stunned and smiled. Brother Hanzong, you're too confident. It's not confidence, it's the truth. Of course. I also understand that whether it's the 5 realms or the 10 strongest fighting souls, they all have their own strengths and can't be lumped together. But if it's a one-on-one fight, our 5 realms can definitely suppress the 10 strongest fighting souls. Dong Hanzong's face was full of confidence. That means my Eye of Void is also no match for Brother Hanzong. Lu Jiajin smiled faintly. Dong Hanzong's expression froze. He had forgotten that this person had one of the 10 strongest fighting souls, the Eye of Void. Brother Hanzong, don't take it to heart. I'm just saying. Lu Jiajin waved his hand and looked up at the inner demons. With the inner demon's ability, they should be able to do it in an hour. The battle was getting more and more intense. 3,000 Demon King real bodies were destroyed by Dong Tianqian's fist one after another. After the battle, Dong Tianqian was not injured at all. If it was someone else, they would have given up. Because there was no way to continue the battle. But the inner demons was full of fighting spirit. Ever since he was sent to the Divine Kingdom by Ice Dragon and Small Beast, he had not encountered such an opponent. This made his blood boil. In short, this was the kind of battle he needed. The more difficult it was, the more terrifying his battle intent became. Now you realize how insignificant you are. It's not too late to kneel down and apologize to me. Dong Tianqian sneered and arrived in front of the inner demons in a single step. The terrifying power of law surged out and rushed toward the inner demons like a tidal wave. Rumble. The inner demons were blasted away, their bodies bleeding profusely. Kneel down now. I'll spare your life. Dong Tianqian looked at the inner demons with disdain, like a high and mighty emperor. Hee, the inner demons steadied themselves and chuckled. In Dong Tianqian's eyes, it was as if he was mocking him. It's not as if. The inner demons were mocking him. It seems that you still don't understand the seriousness of the problem. Dong Tianqian laughed sinisterly. Boom! 7 ultimate mysteries appeared out of nowhere. The will of heavenly Tao erupted, exuding a divine power that could destroy heaven and earth as it rushed toward the inner demons. It's you who doesn't understand the seriousness of the problem. Your Godslayer realm is no longer a threat to me. The inner demons shook his head. The ultimate mysteries of the law of life and death appeared. 2 wills of heavenly Tao erupted and blasted toward Dong Tianqian's 7 ultimate mysteries. With a loud bang, the inner demons used only one of the ultimate mysteries of the law of life and death to crush Dong Tianqian's 7 ultimate mysteries. Isn't he invincible? How could Lu Yuntian crush his ultimate mysteries? The Divine King and the others were surprised. Just as I thought. The inner demons laughed and looked at Dong Tianqian. Your so-called Godslayer realm only makes your physical body invincible. Your law's mysteries don't change at all. I see. That's right. The Godslayer realm only makes Dong Tianqian's physical body invincible. In other words, as long as Dong Tianqian doesn't get close, he can't hurt Lu Yuntian. Everyone suddenly realized. This was the loophole of the Godslayer realm. So what? How long can you last under my attack? Dong Tianqian laughed angrily and immediately launched a storm-like attack on the inner demons. However, the inner demons had a look of disdain as he used the moment of time to dodge. Dong Tianqian couldn't keep up with his speed. Of course, he couldn't keep up with the inner demon's speed. This was because the inner demons had 2 wills of heavenly Tao. With the support of 2 wills of heavenly Tao, the inner demon's speed of activating the moment of time was much faster than Dong Tianqian. This is your second fatal weakness. If it were anyone else today, even if they deliberately avoided the battle, they would die in your hands sooner or later. But unfortunately, your opponent now is me. I have 2 wills of heavenly Tao. With my speed, you don't even have the right to eat my dust behind me. The inner demons laughed contemptuously. Looking at this scene, Lu Jiajin couldn't help but smile. Although Dong Tianqian also controlled the moment of time, Dong Tianqian only had 1 wills of heavenly Tao. The inner demons had 2 wills of heavenly Tao. Just this speed alone made Dong Tianqian feel inferior. With this suppressive speed, it would be easy for the inner demons to drag on for an hour. As long as the time limit of the Godslayer realm was up, it would be too easy for the inner demons to kill Dong Tianqian. Gradually, Dong Tianqian also began to feel anxious. He was especially angry. Why did this person have 2 wills of heavenly Tao? If there was only 1 wills of heavenly Tao, even if the inner demons had terrifying means like the Demon King real body, he was confident that he could kill the inner demons within an hour. How hateful! How could these people comprehend the ultimate meaning of the law of life and death? This sudden jealousy made him even crazier, and he couldn't help but roar, "Are you still a man? If you have the guts, then fight me head on." This is the so-called desperate dog jumping over the wall. It's really pleasing to the eye. The inner demons dodged while constantly mocking. Specifically to make Dong Tianqian collapse. Bastard! What kind of genius are you? Dong Tianxian was furious to the extreme. In front of a peerless genius like you, how would I dare to call myself a genius? But a peerless genius like you can't do anything to me. Don't you think it's ridiculous? The inner demons mocked. Ah, Dong Tianxian roared hysterically. Not to mention hurting the inner demons, even the shadows of the inner demons chased after him and roared, Dong Qin, Brother Zong, come and help me. Brother Zong? Dong Hanzong sneered in his heart. In the past, when he heard Dong Tianxian call him brother, he felt a little happy, but now he only felt nauseous. At the same time, Dong Qin was also indifferent. What are you doing? We're the 5 peerless geniuses of the Central Dynasty. We're bound together for good or ill. Dong Tianxian roared. We want to help you, but this time, you've gone too far. You should stop now. Because you're one of the 5 peerless geniuses of the Central Dynasty, you can't do such a stupid thing. Dong Qin sighed. The greater the reputation, the higher the status, and the greater the responsibility. As the peerless geniuses of the Central Dynasty, they naturally had to consider the overall situation of the Divine Kingdom. They couldn't cause the Divine Kingdom to fall apart because of their own selfishness. If the creatures of the 4 continents rebelled because of this, then who could bear the responsibility when the Emperor investigated? In fact, Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin said so much because they didn't want to implicate themselves. Bitch, I'll kill you sooner or later. Dong Tianxian's heart was filled with resentment. He felt that everyone in the world had wronged him, and he didn't realize his mistake at all. Like Dong Hanzong. Although he was arrogant, at least he could see the big picture. Otherwise, he wouldn't have turned around and left when he went to the village. Time passed quietly. An hour had finally passed. When the time was up, the god-slaying field collapsed. Dong Tianxian's expression immediately became flustered. Now it's my turn. The inner demons laughed and turned around to attack Dong Tianxian. Without the god-slaying field, I'm not afraid of you. Dong Tianxian roared, his eyes were bloodshot. Rumble. The 2 of them kept colliding in the collapsing galaxy, and terrifying shockwaves spread in all directions. Dong Tianxian's aura was strong. But in the face of the inner demon's storm-like attacks, he couldn't resist at all. Because without the god-slaying field, the inner demons were superior to Dong Tianxian in terms of speed and combat strength. The inner demons didn't seem to want to defeat Dong Tianxian immediately. They didn't even activate their Demon King true form. They tortured him bit by bit until Dong Tianxian completely collapsed and fell to the ground in despair. Was this Lu Yuntian's strength? Without the god-slaying field, what was he? He didn't even have the strength to fight. I can't accept this, I can't accept this. Why is my opponent Lu Yuntian? If it were Lu Yunfeng, the Divine King, or the human race, even if they have the Eye of Nothingness, the Mark of Divine Land, and the Sword of Faith, I can definitely defeat them. Dong Tianxian roared in his heart. The inner demons took a step forward and landed in front of Dong Tianxian, saying, let him go. Don't even think about it. Only if you kill me. Dong Tianxian stared at the inner demons coldly. This was the last thing he had left to rely on. As a person with a strong family background, he didn't believe that the inner demons would dare to kill him. Are you challenging my patience? The inner demons raised his eyebrows. If you have the guts, do it. But do you dare? Dong Tianxian sneered. Sorry, there's nothing in this world that I don't dare to do. The inner demon's eyes flashed with killing intent, and he slapped Dong Tianxian's head. Lu Yuntian, don't, Dong Qin shouted. But at this time, Dong Hanzong stopped Dong Qin. Brother Zong, what are you doing? Dong Qin looked at him, puzzled. Dong Hanzong was silent, staring at the inner demons, and there seemed to be some expectation in his eyes. At the same time, Lu Jiajin also glanced at Dong Hanzong, and a ray of light flashed in his eyes. This person's mind seemed to be a bit impure. Ah, a scream rang out. Lu Jiajin looked up and saw the inner demon's palm fall. Dong Tianxin's head exploded on the spot, and blood splattered everywhere. Dong Tianxin's soul fled in horror, and then looked at the inner demons, his eyes full of fear and resentment. He didn't expect that the inner demons would really dare to kill him. Chapter 4250. As I said, there is nothing in this world that I don't dare to do. The inner demons looked at Dong Tianxin's soul with murderous intent in his eyes and slapped at Dong Tianxin's soul. It seemed that at this moment, Dong Hanzong's eyes flashed with a smile. And it was clearly caught by Lu Jiajin, who had been paying attention to him. Interesting. Lu Jiajin muttered. The look in his eyes was also thought-provoking. Looking at Dong Tianxin again. Seeing the inner demons coming, his soul suddenly left his body and ran towards Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin. He had been shocked by the means of the inner demons. This was a cruel and merciless lord. However, the inner demons suddenly stopped and looked at Dong Tianxin playfully, saying, "Look at you, I thought you were not afraid of death." Dong Tianxin hid behind Dong Hanzong and Dong Qin, trembling. Seeing the inner demons stop, Dong Qin could not help but breathe a sigh of relief, but Dong Hanzong seemed to be a little disappointed. The inner demons turned to look at Dong Tianxin's body. His head had been broken, leaving only a headless corpse. The scene was bloody and shocking. Whoosh! Suddenly, a stream of light flashed out of his broken head and rushed towards Dong Tianxin like lightning. This was a space divine object. Obviously, Dong Tianxin had already seen through the purpose of the inner demons, so he took the first step and controlled the space divine object to return to his side. Because the monarch was imprisoned in this space divine object at the moment, he could not let the inner demons get the space divine object. Otherwise, he would lose the only bargaining chip in his hand. But in this regard, the inner demons smiled disdainfully, stepped forward, intercepted the space divine object, released his divine thoughts, and directly crushed the blood contract inside the space divine object. Immediately after, the inner demons dripped blood to recognize the monarch. When the recognition was successful, he immediately released the monarch from the space divine object. "Thank you for saving my life, little brother." The monarch looked around and bowed to the inner demons. "Don't thank me. I didn't want to save you at all. If you want to thank someone, thank my brother. He is a good person." The inner demons sneered. "How cold." The monarch smiled bitterly and turned to Lu Jiajin. He cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, Brother Lu. I also wish for the peace of the divine kingdom." Lu Jiajin waved his hand. "Father. Little Wang. Big brother." At the same time, Heavenly Lord Ji Yunhai, Boss Ji, and a group of elders also quickly surrounded the overlord with concern on their faces. They surrounded the overlord and protected him. "I'm fine." The king waved his hand. The inner demons grabbed the space divine item and exerted force with their 5 fingers. With a loud clang, the space divine item shattered on the spot. They then looked at Dong Tianxin and said playfully, "Do you want to continue?" Dong Tianxin remained silent. But the resentment on his face was clearly visible. The inner demon said, "If you don't want to continue, then kneel and apologize. Don't go too far." Dong Tianxin roared. He had already released the monarch, yet he still wanted him to kneel down and apologize. "You're the one who's going too far." Ji Jiao stepped forward and blocked the entrance of the galaxy. He looked at Dong Tianxin and said, "If you don't give us a satisfactory explanation today, don't even think about leaving here." "What? You still want to kill me?" Dong Tianxin sneered. "What's the harm in killing you?" Ji Jiao was furious. He activated his 3,000 incarnations and unleashed all kinds of ultimate arcana. His terrifying power shook the universe. You're courting death. Do you know who I am? Do you know how powerful my family is? If you dare to touch me, the purple gold divine dragon clan will disappear from the 4 great continents in less than half a year. Dong Tianqian sneered. There were 2 reasons why he was afraid of the inner demons and Lu Jiejin. The first reason was that they were powerful and ruthless. The second reason, which was also the most important reason, was that they were now favored by the emperor. Even if he had a powerful backer, he wouldn't dare to challenge the emperor. However, the purple gold divine dragon clan was just one of the 4 great continents. There were only a few dozen experts who had grasped the will of the heavenly path. Therefore, he looked down on the purple gold divine dragon clan from the bottom of his heart. Good, good, good. Let me see how your family will take revenge on us in the future. Heavenly Lord, protect your father. Everyone else, follow me and kill him. Ji Jiao shouted. Boom! All the elders activated their 3,000 incarnations, including Ji Yunhai. Streaks of ultimates gathered in the sky, emitting an aura that could destroy the world. Even the inner demons and Lu Jiajin couldn't help but feel their scalps go numb. Not counting Ji Yunhai, just these 15 elders. Each of them activated 3,000 incarnations, which meant there were 45,000 incarnations. And each incarnation could activate 8 ultimate arcanas. There were more than 300,000 ultimate arcanas here, and they all carried the will of the heavenly path. One could imagine how terrifying it was. Dong Tianqian was scared out of his wits. He didn't expect these old things to be so crazy. Dong Hanzong transmitted his voice. Dong Tianqian, you'd better apologize to the monarch quickly. Otherwise, you'll be the one to suffer if you anger these elders. That's right. If this matter blows up, it won't do you any good. Because it's indeed you who was in the wrong first. Even if the monarch is alarmed, he might not side with you. Dong Qin also hurriedly persuaded. Dong Tianqian's face was gloomy. I'll ask you one last time. Kneel, or not. Ji Laosher's hair fluttered in the wind like a furious lion. His loud voice exploded in Dong Tianqian's mind like thunder, shaking his divine soul to the point that it was about to collapse. Plop! At this moment, his legs went soft, and he knelt in the river of stars. He was very unwilling. But there was no other way. These elders were too powerful. That was what he was worried about previously. If he imprisoned the monarch, the purple gold divine dragon clan would still be wary of him. But once the monarch escaped, the purple gold divine dragon clan would be like a wild horse that had escaped its reins. If he didn't kneel, he didn't dare to imagine the consequences of facing these angry elders. Apologize. Ji Laosher said. I'm sorry. Dong Tianqian lowered his head and endured the humiliation in his heart as he spoke. Don't you have a name? Also, do you think you can just say, I'm sorry? Ji Laosher shouted angrily. Dong Tianqian's body trembled as he lowered his head and said, Monarch, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I shouldn't have been disrespectful to you. Please forgive me. It's you, not you. Didn't your parents teach you to respect the old and love the young? Ji Laosher shouted angrily. Dong Tianqian clenched his fists and shouted, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I shouldn't have been disrespectful to you. Please forgive me. This was the greatest humiliation of his life. He would never forget this moment for the rest of his life. He bore a grudge against everyone present. He silently swore in his heart that he would take revenge for today's humiliation in the future. Haha, how satisfying. This is even better than killing him directly. Black Tortoise World. The white-eyed wolf laughed. An unparalleled genius of the Central Dynasty was actually forced to this point. It's a pity that I didn't see it with my own eyes. Frenzy's face was also filled with schadenfreude. At this moment, they were communicating with the Divine King, the monarch, and the human race sovereign. All of this was naturally told to them by the three of them. Qin Feiyang looked at the monarch and said with concern, Dong Tianqian has already paid the corresponding price. Don't be too angry. Why should I be angry? Now I feel very comfortable in my heart. The monarch chuckled. Qin Feiyang asked, then where are they now? After it ended, Dong Tianqian left alone. I don't know where he went. Dong Hanzong, Dong Qin, Lu Yuntian, and Lu Yunfeng are still in my purple gold divine dragon clan. The monarch said. Left alone? Qin Feiyang and the other two were stunned. Was this person not afraid of death? Didn't he know that there was someone from Wuqing around them who could spy on his location? The Divine King's eyes flashed with killing intent as he said, we were in a hurry to contact you because we wanted to tell you this news. Qin Feiyang and the other two looked at each other and nodded with a smile. We know what to do. Okay. You guys deal with it as you see fit. After the Divine King finished speaking, he was about to turn off the Divine Sound Stone. Wait a moment. But the monarch suddenly stopped the Divine King. The Divine King and the human race sovereign looked at him in confusion. The monarch looked at Qin Feiyang with a thoughtful look. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but have a trace of doubt in his heart. He said, if you have any questions, just ask. The monarch said, I suddenly remembered that you seem to have said before that the owner of the Eye of Nothingness seemed to be your cousin? The Divine King and the human race sovereign were stunned. It seemed that there was indeed such a thing. Huh? Qin Feiyang didn't react for a moment. The madman and the white-eyed wolf were the same. You did say that back then. You also said that the owner of the Eye of Oblivion was your sister. The monarch said. Qin Feiyang quivered and hurriedly concealed the guilt on his face. He said, I did say the Eye of Oblivion, the Eye of Reincarnation, and the Eye of Destruction, but did I say the Eye of Nothingness? Did you remember wrongly? Remembered wrongly? The monarch pondered for a while, his face darkened as he glared at Qin Feiyang and said, do you think I'm an old fool? How could I remember such important information wrongly? But I really didn't say that. Qin Feiyang said. No. You did say that. The Divine King and the human race sovereign pondered for a moment and also looked at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang was stunned. These people's memory was too good. If the monarch hadn't suddenly mentioned this matter, even he would have forgotten about it. The owner of the Eye of Nothingness is your big cousin. And Lu Yunfeng now has the Eye of Nothingness. Could it be? The monarch's eyes lit up. This, the Divine King and the human race sovereign finally reacted, their faces full of shock. This, that, Qin Feiyang stammered. Kid, you guys are not honest. How could you hide such an important matter from us? I was wondering why you guys knew so much about the Central Dynasty. It turns out that he was the one who tipped you guys off. The monarch looked at Qin Feiyang and the other two with displeasure. Dong Hanzong wanted to kill with a borrowed knife. The monarch thought of the owner of the Eye of Nothingness and wondered if it was Lu Jejin. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.